Chapter 446. That's good enough. If there are more honeyworms, we can only endure it. Zhang Xiaobao was relieved when he saw the servants help to water all the cabbages. The servants didn't know what was the use of doing that. Since the son of a good official asked them to do it, they just did it. They didn't work for nothing. When they left, they brought some chives and egg stuffing. They could eat whatever they wanted when they got home. They could stir-fry or wrap the stuffing. If they didn't have noodles, they could stir-fry it. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan cut so many chives, they felt that they didn't need to mash the chives and soak them in water. The water that flowed out when they were chopped into stuffing was enough. Therefore, they asked the servants to bring more than 100 scrambled eggs and mix them together. That was their pay. After that, the two of them made pies with 3 delicacies stuffing at noon. While some people were full, others were hungry. In order to get as many shrimps as possible to make shrimp sauce, Lu Shaoqing adopted some methods that he thought were reasonable. Those who couldn't catch enough shrimps didn't get to eat. He told them to wait and see at night, but his servants started to carry out the plan at noon. Last night and during the day today, these servants had just learned how to catch shrimps. To be precise, they cast the net. They couldn't judge where there were more shrimps and could only rely on their luck. Lu Shaoqing's servants were required to catch according to the total number of shrimps. Didn't he say that one person could catch a jar of shrimps at night? Then he should have half a jar at noon. Even some things that Lu Shaoqing didn't consider were thought out by his servants. A jar of fresh shrimps couldn't make a jar of shrimp sauce. After mashing the shrimps, it would probably take 3 times as many shrimps to fill a jar. That was to say, these servants had to catch at least half a jar of fresh shrimps in the morning. It was indeed a bit too much. In the past, these servants relied on the master's family to bully the common people outside. Now that they couldn't bully the common people, they began to bully the people around them. The servants of the 3 families were under the control of one family. Lu Shaoqing's servants naturally did what they did in the past. When the others were working, they would watch from the side. If anyone didn't do a good job, they would go over and scold them. They didn't go to the point of beating them. However, when the master's words came, these people found a way. When they were scolded, if they didn't listen, they wouldn't give them anything to eat at noon. The servants of the 3 families were already dissatisfied with Lu Shaoqing's family. At first, they thought it was a joke to scare them. Who knew that at noon, Lu Shaoqing's family really only prepared food for them, and no one cared about them. When the servants of Lu Shaoqing's family began to eat, the servants of the 3 families knew that this matter was true. Immediately, they could not accept it. They were here to help, and their masters did not write any receipts. Not only did they give money, but they also sent them over. In the end, the people who should be in a hurry to do things were given food to eat, while the people who helped were given nothing and were even reprimanded. This was not treating them as humans at all. I'm not doing this anymore. You guys can catch your own prawns. Take a rest and look at the sea. A servant of Fan Jianqi's family threw away the net in his hand and sat on the wooden raft. Looking at the sky and the sea in the distance, he stopped moving. The others followed him. They threw away the things in their hands and waited there. Let's see who could outlast the other. When the people eating on the shore saw others stop, they were not willing to continue. Their thoughts were simple. You guys came here because your master promised our master. Since you are here, you should be obedient. How dare you stop? Hurry up and eat. Teach them a lesson after you finish eating. Our master is so anxious. How dare they not work? Not to mention lunch, they won't even have dinner. Let's see how long they can endure. Hurry up and eat. A servant of Lu Shaoqing's family glanced at the sea. He took another mouthful of rice in his mouth and swallowed it. When the conflict was about to break out, Chao Harue's family came over. He asked his family members to go to the Zhang family's place to catch shrimps so that they could help Lu Shaoqing get through the crisis. When he arrived, he saw that there were only about 30 people eating and about 90 people sitting on the raft doing nothing. He couldn't help but feel puzzled. Before he could ask the person who was eating, a wooden raft on the surface of the sea quickly moved towards this side. On it were several servants of Chao Harue's family. This person just stood there and waited. As soon as the raft reached the shore, the people on the raft jumped down and ran to this person and said, "They don't do anything. They just look at us and say that we must catch at least 1.5 jars of prawns in the morning. Otherwise, they won't give us any food. Go back and tell our master that we quit. We are here to help, but we still have to endure this." After one of them spoke, the others began to speak as well. The more Chow Harue's family member heard, the uglier his expression became. He had been discussing with his master how to help, but now it seemed that there was no need for that. They didn't give them food, they didn't work, and they made the helpers work. Were the people of the Chow family so easy to bully? He was angry. He was going to go there and complain. He didn't need to complain. He could just take them away. The people of the Chow family didn't need to be controlled by the Liu family. He wanted to leave, but some people came to the seaside. Some people of the Zhang family rushed over. As soon as they arrived, they set up a pot and prepared firewood. Under everyone's curiosity, a person came over and said to Chow Harue's people, "Our master said that since the written agreement is written, we should start working. It's noon. According to the custom of the Zhang family, the food of the people who work will be provided by the Zhang family. We came in a hurry and didn't prepare anything. Eat something." The person in charge of Chow Harue's family was very surprised. He didn't expect the Zhang family to come. They really provided food according to the written agreement. It happened that his family members hadn't eaten yet. It was fine as long as they could eat. He quickly said, "Then I'll have to trouble you." "It's no trouble. It's no trouble at all. The Zhang family has always done things this way. Wait a moment. When the water boils, you can eat after a few scoops." The people of the Zhang family said politely and went back to work. "Brother Ziyu, are they people of the Zhang family? Do we have any business with them?" The servant of Chow Harue's family who spoke first listened to the two people talking and looked at the busy work over there. "Yes, there is business. From now on, you will work in the fishing house of the Zhang family. They will provide you with 3 meals a day and make new clothes for each of you. They will also pay you. When we came here, Master wanted to change it into shrimp and give it to Lord Liu. I don't know now. I have to go back and ask Master. You can learn from him first. The more fish you catch, the more money you will get." The small steward of the Chow family didn't hide it. Although he didn't get along well with the Zhang family, he naturally had to put down some of his hatred for the time being if he could make money. The people of the Zhang family worked quickly and didn't have too many dishes to make. 1 dumpling, 2 cold dishes, 1 meat dish, 1 vegetable dish, and some wine. Usually, when other people worked at the beach, they didn't give wine at noon because it would affect their work in the afternoon. However, these people didn't care. Zhang Xiaobao didn't plan to let them do any work. Although there weren't many dishes, these dishes were like the new year for the servants of the Chow Harue's family. They could only eat some salted vegetables these days to save money and repay their debts. The dumplings with 3 delicacies were very normal. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan both ate this at noon. Naturally, others couldn't change it. The cold dish was cucumber mixed with tofu. The meat dish was pig head meat, which was cut and piled in a bowl. Beside it, there was a big bowl of garlic sauce and coriander. The wine was ordinary rice wine with some aged vinegar for people who were willing to drink. The people of the Chow Harue's family were looking forward to it. The people of the Liu family were curious. The people of the other 2 families were also puzzled. They didn't know what was going on with the Zhang family and the Chow family. While they were thinking, the dumplings were ready. The people of the Zhang family called the people of the Chow family over. The servants of the Chow Harue's family didn't refuse. Since they made the dumplings, they dared to eat. They didn't believe that there would be poison in the dumplings. There were no tables or stools, so they put the food in a bowl and placed it on the sand. The people of the Zhang family didn't eat the food cooked by them. Those who were not busy ate with the people of the Chow family. There were no plates, only a wooden bowl. He poured some soy sauce and vinegar into it, picked up a dumpling, dipped it in it, and stuffed it into his mouth. He chewed hard and breathed out hot air. He said to the people of the Chow family, "Eat, there are more dumplings over there. You have a good time today. Do you know who made the filling for these dumplings? Young master and young lady, in order to make dumplings for you, the young master and young lady went to the chai field early in the morning. This may be the only time you can eat dumplings in your life." The people of the Chow family didn't know how good the dumplings made by the young master and young lady were. They were relieved when they saw that the person who made the food was also eating. They all picked up their chopsticks and began to eat. When they ate, they found that the dumplings were indeed different. They tasted better than the best dumplings they had ever eaten before. In addition, there were 2 cold dishes and wine. They ate happily, which attracted the people of the Lu family. The people of the Lu family didn't know what was going on. When they arrived, they saw dumplings, 2 cold dishes, and wine. One person who was stupid thought that if the Chow family could eat, they could also eat. She looked around and saw that the chopsticks were on the table. She didn't pick them up and directly reached for the bowl of dumplings. She picked up a dumpling and stuffed it into her mouth. She chewed twice, but before she swallowed, she felt a pain in her stomach and her body flew backward. She couldn't hold the dumpling in her mouth anymore and spat it out. "Who allowed you to eat? Are you from the Lu family? Don't you know the rules? The Zhang family didn't say that they would give you the food, but you dared to eat by yourselves. This is the first time. Spit out the dumplings. If there's another time, I'm telling you, it won't be just dumplings. I'll make you vomit blood." The guards of the Zhang family also came. When they came, they had been told to take action when there was an opportunity. They would let one side eat well and the other side couldn't. This was an opportunity. They kicked the people of the Zhang family away and threatened them. Their goal was achieved. Chapter 447. 2 hours later, a fast horse brought the news to the mansion. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were thinking about the weaving machine. Both of them knew that there was a weaving machine that was very useful and understood the general principle, but when they saw the weaving machine, they felt a little dizzy. This place is where the line goes. When there is an extra thing to let the line go through, the direction of the line changes. This place is where the shuttle is sent. The line goes around from there. Wang Wan was thinking about it bit by bit while muttering. Zhang Xiaobao was even worse. He was trying hard to imagine a picture of a weaving machine. "Xiaobao, it's better to find a few more people to think about it. When we see it, we will find that it is different from the picture. Tomorrow morning, there will be skilled craftsmen. It's not a difficult thing. We just need to give them more money. I don't know if the students from the engineering school can do it. Zhang Jiuling has connections there. Discuss with the old housekeeper here and help send a letter. What if they come up with something and don't know where to use it? Let's give them some advice." Wang Wan was also confused. She could think of a human-powered propeller, but this weaving machine was a little difficult. The main reason was that she didn't know the weaving process, so she decided to give the idea to others and let them come up with a research project. 2 pigeons will fly back and forth. It's impossible for the pigeon to fly back. A long-distance letter can be said to be a life-saving thing at a critical moment. We have to give some benefits to the old housekeeper here. Zhang Xiaobao was a little worried that Zhang Jiuling would not agree, so he prepared to take some benefits. Wang Wan thought of the money donated and the time when Zhang Jiuling's family looked down on Zhang Zhong. She suggested, "He still owes us twice. Use this to pay." Zhang Xiaobao hurriedly shook his head. "Remember, he doesn't owe us anything. Don't mention it. This is a passive favor. Unless there is really a day when there is no other way, just wait for him to think about it himself. We haven't come up with a method of hatching chicks yet, so let's hatch more pigeons first. It shouldn't be difficult to use a pigeon to exchange for his help. He's not the Prime Minister yet. Once our pigeons are bred and the communication network is built, we'll be able to make a lot of money. We'll specialize in delivering urgent news to rich people." "What about the commoners?" Wang Wan asked. "Ordinary people. What urgent news did the ordinary citizens have? Even if there was a letter, it would be useless. For example, If there was a student from a humble family who was rushing to take the exam and left from here, the family here had urgent matters to attend to. They said that this person had left home for 5 months and wanted us to send a letter to them. How would we do that? We usually send letters to aristocratic families and merchants. It's less common for aristocratic families. Aristocratic families have their own means, but merchants are different. If they open a branch outside or have dealings with a merchant, we'll send letters to them. Zhang Xiaobao attached great importance to the matter of the carrier pigeon. If he knew some news in advance, he could make preparations in advance, especially when it came to making money. Wang Wan felt a little regretful. Many good things were invented to serve the military. Then, it was the rich's turn. When the rich had better things, it was the poor's turn. She felt that she should be considered rich now, so she should be more concerned about the poor. Xiaobao, do you know how to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor? I don't know. The simplest way is to play fight the landlord and fight the tycoons. But I'll tell you this, as long as the landlord and tycoon can still live like other people after they're done playing fight the landlord and the tycoon, no one will restrict them. Then, a large portion of them will still become rich and surpass others. Zhang Xiaobao had specially thought about how to make ordinary people earn more money. In the end, he realized that only those who were unwilling to accept the status quo and dared to take risks could become rich. Some took bigger risks, some took smaller ones. Some were not capable and had bad luck when taking risks. Some were done for. Some succeeded. It was too difficult for people who were content with the status quo to succeed. Wang Wan felt a little regretful. Then forget it. Let's live our lives well. If we can help others, we will. We are not saviors. The two of them stopped studying the loom and began to talk about some philosophical thoughts. At this time, the person who was investigating the situation came over and reported to the two of them in detail. After the person left, Zhang Xiaobao smiled. Xiaobao, what rotten idea did you come up with this time? Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao's innocent smile and knew that someone was going to be unlucky. Tomorrow morning, I'll ask the kiln to sell the remaining jars. Then, we'll start to buy the shrimp paste. Each jar contains 20 catties of shrimp paste. We'll buy all of them in cash. No deposit, no receipt. We'll just spread the news. I want to see if a person's heart can withstand the test of money. In 3 days, we'll buy all of them in cash. Zhang Xiaobao said as he walked out. The person who delivered the bill had come. He had to clear up the account. Wang Wan followed behind him. She could help as well. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao's back and shook her head. Zhang Xiaobao had been working too hard recently. He had to think about everything. He even talked in his sleep at night. If one listened carefully, they would hear him talking in his sleep. When the two of them arrived at the study, Wang Wan asked as she ground an ink stick, Xiaobao, do you hate those 4 people so much that you want to teach them a lesson? It's not that I hate them. I don't have concrete evidence, but they did what they did. I mainly treated them as chickens and killed them as a warning to the monkeys. When Lu Zhou's construction is done, someone will come to pick the fruits of their labor. It's time for my father to leave. Your father can't always stay in his position as a 7th grade official. This time, I'll give him some credit. Even if the court knows that he didn't do much, they still have to give him face. It's also good to give your mother a better title. A tree lives with skin, and a person lives with dignity. My mother won't have to worry about it. Even if my father doesn't fight for it, there will be others who will. If they don't raise your family's status, it'll be difficult when you marry me. Zhang Xiaobao flipped through the account book and said. Wang Wan pinched Zhang Xiaobao's face and asked, Who said I'm going to marry you, little brat? Tell me, who's the monkey? Zhang Xiaobao stared at the account book. He flipped through it again and said, I don't know who's the monkey, but I want those who can be the monkey in the future to be careful. Those who are capable, step forward. Those who aren't, step back. After we're done with Lu Zhou, my father still can't enter the capital. He's still young. What kind of place is this? Who's doing the accounts in Huaqing County? Are you trying to scare a fool? You were fine yesterday, and yet, you dare to falsify the accounts for me today. It seems like some people didn't teach you a lesson last time, and they're tempted again. Are they getting restless after seeing summer? What's going on? When Wang Wan heard that something was up, she curiously leaned over to take a look. It's nothing. The river is connected to the bay, and there's a total of 1,200 people. We used 550 catties of grain. It's normal to eat this every day. We should at least let them eat their fill, right? It's enough if we add vegetables. The vegetables are 600 catties of spinach, and they'll shrink when they're stir-fried. We used 5 catties of salt. This seems a little too much, but it's normal. After all, we made salted vegetables. The salt and water consumption of the people working is high. We also have salt water to replenish our bodies when we don't eat. It's normal to use 400 catties of firewood. I believe him if he said he used 1,000 catties. What if the wind is strong, and the firewood isn't good? What do you see? Wang Wan knew how to check the accounts as well. She did not see anything else after looking through it. The accounts for water and wages were in another book, and it had nothing to do with this. Thinking that there was a problem with the other book, Wang Wan also found the account book. She carefully looked at this place, shook her head, and said, "There's no problem with this. It's very clear. The difference with yesterday's account is within the usual range. Let me look at yesterday's account book. The only difference is that the place where they dug is different. Today, they dug through the bay here. Yesterday, they were still a little short, but the consumption is the same. Yesterday, they used more firewood than today. That's the mistake. It's a rainy day today. Don't you think they used too little firewood? You also said that it's not a problem to use 1,000 catties of firewood. I won't say anything if you use 5,000 catties of firewood. Look at this account book for water. It's a separate account. Compared with yesterday's, it's actually less water than yesterday's. The wages of the workers are less." Zhang Xiaobao took out several accounts books and showed them to Wang Wan. Chapter 47. The calculation of the secular world continues. Wang Wan took a look and still did not find any problems. She said to the worker who delivered water, "It's not as hot today as yesterday, so they drank less water." "How can it be less? They eat so much salt and work so hard. Aren't they thirsty?" Huaqing County's Deputy County Magistrate Qi Dong is in charge over there, right? This time, he will be able to get 2 strings of cash. 2 strings of cash is not a lot, but I can't let him be greedy. As long as he succeeds this time, who knows what will happen next time. Other people will also feel lucky when they see this. How can I have time to chat with them? We still have work to do. I don't know what they are thinking by making false accounts in front of me. Kill a chicken first and let others see. Back then, for the sake of the disaster relief, he organized better and gave him a chance. But he can't control himself anymore. Zhang Xiaobao was most annoyed by the petty tricks of his subordinates. For 2 strings of cash, they made the accounts so well that even Wang Wan, who was from the Special Second Department, could not see through it. Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's certainty, but she still did not understand. How can he be greedy for so much money? Because of the amount of work. Look at the progress in the accounts. According to our estimates, the amount of soil and rocks dug out is about the same. But it rained today, so the soil is easy to dig. Also, the area near the bay is easier to dig. You have seen that area. It's not rocks, but sand. How much did the labor do? Just like what you said, the firewood is not valuable, but it can be used to cook salt. We paid for it, and he cooked the salt himself. In order to make up for this, he made salted vegetables. How many people here can calculate so clearly? Let him try it in Sanshui County. The people can directly calculate how much salt he took. Zhang Xiaobao continued to explain to Wang Wan. At the same time, he really admired this county deputy, Qi Dong. It was not worth it to use his ability on 2 strings of cash. Then why didn't he increase the amount of water? Wouldn't that be easier to calculate the consumption of salt? Wang Wan asked again. He calculated the consumption of cold water for other people. If I'm not wrong, those water delivery boys earn more than other places. Boiling salt is hotter, so he took out 100 copper coins to make up for the water delivery boys. Then the money for the water and the water delivery workers was calculated separately. Go to another person's account. Isn't it enough to give some money to this person? The account is recorded by Huaqing County's knife brush officer. Give him half a string of cash, which is 500 copper coins, and I think he will agree. In this way, Qi Dong earned about half a string of cash in a day. This person is really not ordinary. He calculated according to the weather and was willing to spend money. If you don't believe me, you can find a worker there and ask him. Zhang Xiaobao hesitated. He was a talent. For such a small amount of money, he calculated so many steps. As long as he was given a wider sky, he would definitely be able to spread his wings and soar. However, if he did not stop this trend, others would follow suit. He could not spend too much energy on such a small matter, right? Wang Wan thought for a while, then gave Zhang Xiaobao a thumbs up and said, "Comrade Zhang Xiaobao, as expected, you didn't diminish your reputation. So many people wanted to catch you but couldn't. It wasn't luck. To be able to see so many calculations just by looking at the account books, I really want to say to that Qi Dong, it's not that you didn't do well enough, but that you met the person you should not have met in your life." Just like Song Jinggong back then, he calculated and tricked so many people. In the end, when he reached the small bridge, I don't know if he hesitated when he crossed the bridge, but I know that he walked very slowly. After that, there was one less liar in this world. I think, in everyone's heart, there is such a bridge. The bridge of helplessness between heaven and hell. How many people can turn back at that time? How many people can stay at that time and not drink that bowl of Granny Meng's soup? I still admire Mi Fan more. At the crucial moment, he knows how to compromise. Zhang Xiaobao listened for a while and finally understood. He said to Wang Wan, "You want me to let Qi Dong go? Actually, it's fine to let him go, but there are many ways to do so. For example, if my father is an official here, other than normal people, who would take the initiative to come here? This is a place of exile. If it was Qi Dong, we could also use this method. It's good that he has the ability. I'm really not afraid of him causing trouble. I'm prepared to exile him to the capital. He can forget about being a deputy county magistrate. How about he go to Sanshui County to be an official? He can do whatever he wants there. Okay, then it's settled. Let's scare him first." Wang Wan also couldn't bear to part with a talent. There weren't many people who could avoid her checking the account books. Although she didn't have the patience to check bit by bit, she still checked. Zhang Xiaobao only glanced at it. Others didn't know that in the prefecture, there were 2 children talking about someone's life and death. The sun still rose and set, just like the tide. Those who were supposed to eat, those who were supposed to wear, and those who were supposed to wear, wore their clothes. Chao Harue could be said to be a drop of water in the vast sea of people. When he was thinking hard, he probably didn't think that there were many people who wouldn't care at all if they encountered such a thing. He also didn't think that there was someone who calculated every move he made. Chao Harue was also very angry when he heard about the incident at the seaside. He was angry at Lu Shaoqing. He felt that since he handed Lu Shaoqing over to him, he should treat him well. His own servants didn't work, but let others do it. He didn't even give them food. Who was helping who? Who wrote the note? Was it possible that he had to ask others to help him when he was helping others? If you, Lu Shaoqing, were a powerful provincial governor like Zhang Zheng, it would still make sense. But you, Lu Shaoqing, are the same as us. We're all judges. If we help you, it's out of friendship. If we don't, it's our duty. In the past, it was indeed beneficial for all 4 of them. They shared the benefits equally. But now, what about the debt? No one said that they would help others bear the debt. Those who had more servants also had more. After earning money, they had to pay their own debts. Since this was the case, how could Chao Harue's servants be worse than others? Those who helped were reprimanded and didn't have food to eat. The ones who were really anxious were the supervisors. There was no reason for this. Thinking of this, Chow Harue became even more angry. He shouted outside, "Someone prepare the carriage. We are going to visit Magistrate Lu's house. Bring a gift box." The servant hurriedly complied and ran out to prepare. He understood in his heart that the master was angry. The 4 families were close to each other, and there was even a connecting door between the courtyards. The master had even brought out a carriage. He said that there were official positions, and he even wanted to bring a calendar. This was clearly going according to the official position. Thinking about it, the servant didn't dare to be negligent. He prepared everything and came to greet them. Chow Harue went out and took the carriage. He made a circle and arrived at the Lu residence in less than half an hour. The purpose of making a circle was to let people know that he was going to pay a formal visit. The other party could prepare according to their status. As expected, Lu Shaoqing was prepared. The main door was wide open. In fact, it wasn't closed. 2 people just came and did this. Jiang Huanshe and Fan Jianqi also wanted to ask how they were going to cooperate. They couldn't just casually send people here to do manual labor and then not have food. That wasn't cooperation. Bullying the servants was bullying the master. Lu Shaoqing already knew what happened. He beat the servant who made the decision without permission half to death. But this didn't solve the problem. People would think that he deliberately made a scene for others to see. Wasn't it just the trick of injuring oneself to gain sympathy? Many years ago, there were people who used it again and again. Lu Shaoqing naturally knew what the third person meant. He personally went to the door to welcome him. As soon as Chow Harue got out of the carriage, he hurried to the front and said with a smile, "Brother Chow, you must be here because of the servant in my family. Please come in. Brother Zhang and Brother Fan are also here. That servant of mine offended all 3 families at once, and I didn't mention how to beat him up. In the end, it was my mistake this time. I hope Brother Chow can understand. Brother Chow should also know that I can't even protect all 3 families, so how could I bully you? If you want to die, you can just find a rope. Why do you have to do this?" In fact, Chow Harue didn't come here to make trouble. He mainly used this as an excuse to let his servant work with the Zhang family. He wanted to make more money and pay off the debt as soon as possible. Hearing Lu Shaoqing's words, he chuckled and said, "Brother Lu, I'm not here to denounce you. My servant was bullied and can't eat. These are all small matters. Small matters. I came here this time to discuss the matter of the shrimp paste with Brother Lu. I'm sure Brother Lu already knows about today's situation, so I won't hide it from you. Brother Lu, look, this is the contract written by the Zhang family. As long as I send 30 people to work there, their final wages will be exchanged for prawns that can be used to make prawn sauce. I think that in a few days, Brother Lu will have enough prawns. It usually takes a month to make shrimp sauce. Normally, there isn't enough time, but the Zhang family didn't say that if they can't make it in a month, they will immediately compensate. You said in the agreement that you will receive it in a month. You can just find some reason. Even if you don't have a reason, you don't have to be afraid. The length of the shrimp sauce depends on the temperature. If it's hot, the time will be shorter. You can let people light a fire around the jar and keep it hot. That way, it won't take a month. In the past, when the weather was good, it would only take 20 days. What do you think?" Lu Shaoqing did know about today's matter, but he didn't expect it to be like this. He heard a useful piece of news and said happily, "Brother Chow, I'm sorry. I'll kill that person later to give Brother Chow an explanation." "You're going to kill me? Let's do it like this. When Brother Lu makes money, don't forget that we are still in debt." Chow Harue pointed out the most important thing. "Brother Chow, don't worry. When we sell the shrimp sauce, you get 60% and I get 40%. Lu Shaoqing happily divided the profits. Chapter 448. In the middle of summer, the old man between the clouds and the water finally could not stand it anymore. Even with the fan blowing, he was still very irritated. The students of the academy were more serious in their studies. There had never been a case where the rich students bullied the poor students. The old man knew that it was not that the rich did not want to bully them, but that they did not dare to. The Zhang family hated internal strife the most. The Zhang family developed too fast, so they did not have the time to care about internal conflicts. As long as there was a sign of trouble, they would deal with it. After the academy expelled 4 people in a row, all of them became obedient. They were expelled as the academy said. It was useless no matter who interceded. The rules were there. If they wanted to test, the result would not be good. "Grandpa, I can't write anymore." Xian Air stopped writing in the pavilion. Looking at the dragonflies flying around the lake, she felt even more irritated. "Then go and play with the kids from Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi." The old man was also annoyed. Even if he had caught more than 10 fish, he was not in a good mood. Xian Air pouted, "No, they only want to play when they are playing, and only want to learn when they are learning. It's better to play with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. They can play and learn at the same time." "Grandpa, when will they come back?" "It's still early. How about I take you to them? Arrange the things in the academy and then leave?" Since the old man left Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he always felt that he had lost a lot of things. At first, he thought that the 2 little guys were close. Later, he realized that it was because of the lack of good students. The students in the academy were not bad, but compared to the 2 little guys, it was different. When he asked the 2 children to memorize the same thing, they were always able to memorize it on the second day. Furthermore, they were able to understand it. The smarter students were able to barely memorize it, but the more stupid ones actually required 3 days. After explaining it over and over again, they still had questions. If this went on, he would fall sick again. It was better to find the 2 little fellows and take a look at the situation over there. It was always better to see with one's own eyes than to know from one's heart. Xianer only felt that it was too lonely. She didn't expect that one sentence would make her grandfather suggest the idea of going over. She nodded happily and said, "That's great, grandfather. Then let's hurry up and go. I want to see how much Lu has learned." All right, let's go. Let's go back and make some arrangements." The old man couldn't sit still any longer. He put away his fishing rod and walked back. When they were about to leave the gazebo, someone shouted with a splash. Someone jumped into the water. "Look, it's really a leap of heroism, like a summer's summer water." The old man looked in the direction of the voice and saw a person in the middle of the intersection between the main building between the clouds and the water and the adjacent building. He looked down and saw a person struggling in the water. The old man sighed. He didn't know which stupid person had jumped into the water. Even if he wanted to die, he didn't have to jump here. He stood on the highest 3-story building and jumped down with his head down. There was no need to jump into the water. Even if he didn't die, he would be fined. Xian watched from the side and was also not worried. The rescue team had already gone over. She looked at the person who was still struggling to get down and said, "Grandfather, isn't this Lu Feitong? The one who kept nagging all day and didn't learn anything?" Sure enough, it's the second time. He wanted to enter the Zhang family to learn something. The Zhang family agreed and arranged for him to learn here. It seems that he didn't learn well. We'll take him with us so that he won't jump again and again. After all, he is Minister Lu's nephew. The old man didn't have good eyesight. He took out the clairvoyance and saw clearly. He said helplessly. Lu Feitong, who was rescued, was still shouting, "I can't learn anything. Let me die, let me die." If you want to die, go somewhere else. Don't stay between the clouds and the water. The rescuers didn't show any mercy and didn't try to persuade him not to die. Several people held him down, tied him up, and sent him to the shore. "Xnr, go and tell Lu Feitong about this. I'll go to the academy to arrange it," the old man said to his granddaughter and quickened his pace to leave. The old man in the academy taught more easily. There were only 2 hours of classes a day. There were many good teachers here. He just needed to assign them to one person. Along the way, the old man saw that the students were wearing clean clothes and their faces were glowing. He was relieved to leave. Since the Zhang family agreed to make clothes for the students, they had been doing it all the time. Some time ago, they even found people from other academies to compete again. In the old man's opinion, winning or losing was not important. If they lost, they would know their shortcomings. If they won, they would know their strengths. Most importantly, the competition gave them half a year's worth of supplies needed by the students. He didn't need to worry about these things. The people from the Zhang family between the clouds and the water would take care of it. This way, he wouldn't have to worry about the students' lives when he left. As this place became more prosperous, the advertising fees would become higher and higher. He wouldn't have to worry about not having enough money in the future. After making all these arrangements, the old man finally embarked on his journey to Luzhou. He brought his granddaughter and the guards of his family and took a small boat to the capital. He wrote a letter to the people at the docks in advance. When they arrived at their destination, there was already a big boat waiting for them. It was a newly built ship. Before the old man boarded the ship, he deliberately looked at the back of the ship. Sure enough, there was a propeller. The current propeller was much better than before. It wouldn't break down in 2 to 4 hours. It was mainly because the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War had put in a lot of effort. Grandpa, isn't Ling Nan the place to be sent to? Many people have said that the journey is a narrow escape. I don't think it's that dangerous. There are willows by the shore and fish jumping in the water. A gentle breeze comes, and the sky is high and the clouds are light. Sigh, it's time to return to the boat. The sun is setting. It's not a bad journey, Exinair said to the old man as she stood on the ship and looked at the fishing boat reflected by the sunset. The old man chuckled. Exinair, our journey is different from the people sent to the prison. They travel by land and have to cross mountains and ridges. We travel by land and on a big ship. Of course, it's easier for us. Oh, so the people sent to the prison also have to take a ship. Then, they won't have to worry about dying on the way. Exinair thought of things in a positive way. The old man didn't say much. How could it be so easy to sit on a big ship? How many people could specially call for a ship and travel so far? If they could run, it would be better to take a trip to the cargo ship and earn a few hundred strings of coins. The Zhang family was rich and generous, and the 2 children were good friends with him, so he arranged a ship to send them off. There weren't many people on the ship. Other than the people who raised and lowered the sails, there were also people who stepped on the wheels below. There were also 2 chefs who were in charge of cooking along the way. Other than the old man and the others, there was also money on the ship. Copper coins were strung up and placed properly. Not only could they be used to send supplies to the other side, but they could also be used to weigh the ship. There were also cloth, silk, and some miscellaneous goods. It wasn't that they didn't want to leave the ship empty, but they were afraid of encountering strong winds at sea. If the ship was empty, it would be dangerous. While the ship was moving, a fleet suddenly appeared in front of them. The flag that was hung fluttered in the wind, and there was a large rice seedling embroidered on it. Grandpa, it's the Zhang family's fleet. They're back. As soon as Exinair saw the flag, she shouted happily. She thought that the Zhang family's people were back. Now, there was no one here who didn't know which family the ship with the rice seedling flag belonged to. The news had already spread. As long as one inquired a little, they would know that it was the ship of last year's top scorer. Even if the top scorer's family had always emphasized that they didn't do business, others also knew that this was the case. If they didn't do business in the name of the family, they wouldn't be regarded as businessmen. Among those aristocratic families, how many of them didn't do business? They were already used to it. The incoming fleet also noticed the ship. After a series of flag signals, when they passed by each other, a ship in the fleet threw a large bag of things over and hit the deck of the old man's ship. Before the dust settled, Exinair ran over and looked at the big bag that was taller than her when she was standing and wider than her when she was lying down. She was full of curiosity. She waved at the people next to her and said, "Open it and see what's inside." Even if she didn't shout, they would still open it. As soon as the bag was opened, Air rummaged through it. This was because the words on the bag said that it was for Grandpa Bai, who was also her grandfather. Grandpa, Grandpa, come and see. I want this bracelet, this necklace, and this hairpin. There are too many of them. I can't pick them all. Grandpa, there's also grilled fish slices. Let me try them first. Air looked at them one by one. She picked and chose. In the end, she took a bite of the fish slices. The fish slices she ate were small. There was also a large dried fish that was 5 feet long. If the bag was any smaller, it would not be able to fit them all. The old man walked over slowly. He knew that these were Lu Zhou's local specialties. He looked at the bracelets and necklaces and said to his granddaughter, "You're a hawksbill turtle. Do you know how much these things cost?" 100 strings of coins. Air casually said a number. She thought that 100 strings of coins was quite a lot. Usually, her pocket money was only slightly more than 100 copper coins a month. She used it to buy food when she went to the market. Your bracelet is already worth 100 strings of coins. All the things added together are worth at least 3,000 strings of coins. They must have been specially prepared by the two of them. This is the capital of the other side. If you sell them here, it's normal to sell them for 6,000 or 7,000 strings of coins. The old man looked at the things that were supposed to be offerings and said to his granddaughter with a sigh. Air was shocked and almost threw the bracelet in her hand away. She looked at the crimson and crystal-clear bracelet in her hand under the sunlight and muttered, "This thing is worth 100 strings of coins? Oh, and a single-colored bracelet? Air, this is not just 100 strings of coins. If you shout that you're selling it for 500 strings of coins, many people will rush to buy it. You can't accept this gift. You can choose one of the other things. When you get there, return this bracelet to the owner. This single-colored bracelet can buy the rest of the things." Chapter 449. The newly built ship was still sailing as usual. Compared to Air, who only liked some fun things, the old man paid more attention to those local specialties. Anyone who was willing to inquire about the disaster in Lu Zhou's area, including the surrounding provinces, knew about it. According to the timeline, this was only the second time these things were sent here. The old man knew that the first things were also local specialties that were secretly left behind by some local officials. However, this time was obviously different. Not only were there specialties from Lu Zhou, but there were also specialties from the surrounding provinces. If it was someone else, the old man would think that these things were obtained by chance and were sent here. However, the Zhang family basically did not do anything by chance. This meant that the people in those provinces were living well. The old man knew Zhang Zhong's character. He would not ignore others after he made a fortune. From the looks of it, it wouldn't be long before the 5 surrounding prefectures would send in their reports. The greater the contribution, the more powerful Zhang Zhong would be. Who didn't know what was going on over there? Even if they praised the 5 provinces on the surface, they would think more highly of Zhang Zhong in their hearts. Grandpa, there are also pictures. There are words written under the pictures. Let me read it to you, Grandpa. On the 17th of June, it was raining heavily. There was a vast ocean around. 6 houses were washed down. Wooden rafts formed land and rippled with the waves. On the 19th of June, there were floating corpses. He was very anxious and sent the strong Team 0 to search against the current. There was a child lying on his back on the water. When he rushed to the wooden raft, he thought it was a floating corpse. Xiao Bao entered the water and carried the child up. He blew air into the child's chest and lungs. Then, a cry was heard. Everyone who saw it was very happy. The child opened his little hands and babbled. On the 22nd of June, there were people in the upper reaches of the province who came to save them. More people came later, including the mountain people. They called for help from time to time. Unfortunately, the Team 0 was too small and could not expand the search area. We did not know how many people were in the sea. On the 24th of June, the rain did not stop. Xin flipped open a page and read a page. After reading for a while, she couldn't read anymore. Tears flowed down her cheeks. Among the things she read, there was sorrow, helplessness, sadness, joy, and anticipation. Although she was young, she knew that life was precious. The old man took the book with the picture and looked at the special drawing method on it. He looked at the clear scene in the picture and said to his granddaughter, "Xer, this is the real definition of great wisdom and courage. Your Uncle Zhang is a man without trees. Although some people died, there are more people who survived because of him. Without that undulating wooden array formation, there would be more ghosts on the other side." Xin was still sad. She nodded and asked, "Grandpa, why didn't Uncle Zhang divide the wooden raft into smaller pieces? That way, there would be more space for him to block. Why didn't he make more wooden rafts?" "Silly girl, the wind and waves are strong at the seaside. Even if the rafts are connected together, they will still rise and fall. Look at this picture. It's a picture of a big rock pressing down on the wooden raft. It's a good place to be hit by the waves. Even so, the wooden raft is sometimes lifted 10 feet high. If the ropes were not tight and loose, the people on the raft would have fallen into the water." He also wanted to arrange it earlier, but he didn't have so much time. At that time, he had just arrived and didn't have time to do it. If he had half a year, there wouldn't be such a disaster. Look at this picture. It's a picture of 2 rivers to be dug. I think they are already digging now. The old man naturally knew more than his granddaughter. From these pictures, he could see the situation on the other side. Not only were there wooden rafts, but there were also big boats helping to block the wind and waves. He could imagine what kind of scene it was at that time. For this flood, the Zhang family did everything they could. Xin finally understood. She snatched the picture book back and continued reading. When she finished reading the last page, she asked again, "Grandpa, if Uncle Zhang and his family were not there, what would happen?" "They wouldn't. Nothing will happen here, but a lot of people will die over there. Even after the disaster, there will still be people who will die. Even more people will flee. Your Uncle Zhang's family is not ordinary. Don't underestimate them because they only have one province. They support the 5 surrounding provinces. Without him there, those 6 provinces will be finished. There are already few people there. Without the Zhang family, there would be even fewer people there. This is the right way to do things for the country and the people. Don't worry. When we get there, you'll see a different Lu Zhou from the picture." The old man looked at the river in front of him and said to Xin with emotion. He believed in the Zhang family's ability to do things. A lot of money had been shipped there. Others thought that it was a dilapidated place, but if it was the Zhang family, they would be able to make money at that time. Xin did not care about the difference at all. As long as no one died, and as long as she could see Sister Lu Wang Wan, and Zhang Xiaobao when she got there, she was satisfied. She waved the picture book in her hand. "Grandpa, this thing is really fun. It has pictures. It's not fun. It's very useful. If something similar happens in other places, you can copy it. It talks about how to save people who fell into the water, how to bandage wounds, don't drink unboiled water, and eat more garlic. Think about it. If the Yellow River flooded, wouldn't you be able to copy it?" The old man saw more knowledge from such a thing. "Yes." Xin nodded in agreement. "You can't take this book with you. You have to leave it for the people here and send it to the emperor," the old man said as he extended his hand. Xin reluctantly handed over the beautiful book. When she saw her grandfather instructing people to send it away, she said reluctantly, "The beautiful picture is gone. When we get there, I'll take a look at it with my own eyes." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know that the old man had come over. In the past few days, the 2 of them had checked the accounts and found that Qi Dong would think of ways to be greedy every day. It was a lot of money for ordinary people, but for Zhang Xiaobao, it was just a drop in the ocean. He's been greedy for 10 strings of coins. Isn't it time to do something? Otherwise, others will be greedy when they see that there's nothing to do. Wang Wan finally learned a thing or two. She checked the accounts very carefully. In the past few days, Qi Dong was greedy. It could not be said that he was greedy. It should be said that he was using public power for private purposes. He kept all the benefits for himself and kept 10 strings of coins. She advised Zhang Xiaobao to clean it up. Zhang Xiaobao had been very relaxed these few days. He was playing games with Lu Shaoqing and the other 3 people. 2 of the 4 people were directly schemed against, while the other 2 were affected. The affected people did not lose much, but they offended people and earned less money for a few days. Since Zhang Xiaobao raised the purchase price, the shrimp sauce had changed from the usual multiples to a jar of 8 strings of coins. Chao Herue had already agreed with Lu Shaoqing that they would use the shrimp to exchange for wages. When the time came, they would split the profits 40 to 60. Because of the increase in the shrimp sauce, he changed his mind. Normally, if they worked hard, the 30 of them would be able to earn more than 30 jars of prawns in a day. However, Zhang Xiaobao was not going to let these 30 people do anything. He would make new clothes for them, and there would be alcohol for every meal. How could they still want to work after drinking? After reluctantly following the team for a round, the 30 people could only get 5 jars of shrimp in a day. They did not care. They could eat and drink well every day, even if they did not get paid. As a result, Chao Herue's hope was dashed. He thought that 5 jars of shrimp sauce could be made into 2 jars of shrimp sauce. If 1 jar sold for 8 strings of coins, it would be 16 strings of coins a day. Moreover, the price seemed to be increasing. When the shrimp sauce was made, would it not increase even more? After thinking about it, he did not want to send the shrimp to Lu Shaoqing anymore. Instead, he asked someone to send some money. He said that the 30 people in the family did not know how to do work and did not get paid these days. The money sent should be used to buy shrimp and boats. He could not say such words himself, so he could only ask the steward in the family to do it. After hearing the steward's description, Lu Shaoqing's face became gloomy after hearing such words. However, he still thanked him and accepted the money. Knowing that the shrimp sauce could be sold at a high price, Chao Herue sent the other servants in the family out to catch shrimp in the sea with wooden rafts. They could use the shrimp sauce to make shrimp sauce and sell it when it was ready. Fan Jianqi and Jiang Huanshe also felt that sending people out would make less money, so they found reasons to ask their servants to come back. They also went to catch shrimp in the sea. Lu Shaoqing could not say anything. It was profit. He could not find fault with others for letting the 3 people who worked together to stay away from him. After all, it was his family who did not give others food first. He said that it would be settled at night, and it was the kind of fresh shrimp that 1 jar. The servants in the family changed it on their own accord. Even if he told the truth, no one would believe him. The servant in the family was beaten for a while every day. If he was not killed, he would be whipped once a day. In fact, it was to tell the people in the courtyard that they should do what the master told them to do. If they did not do it, they would be whipped. When he beat the servant, he also sent all the servants in the family out to catch shrimp. At this time, there were already 26 jars. However, for 200 jars, it was far from enough. When the time came and they really could not hand it in, they would have to pay twice the amount, which was 600 strings of coins. Lu Shaoqing also had a good idea. He wanted his family to make 70 to 80 jars. When the time came, he would sell them. The money would be enough to pay for it. As for the 3 ungrateful people who only cared about money, they could earn money by themselves. In the future, if there was a good thing, he would not ask them. There was no difference between not giving coal in the snow and hitting a person who was down. Thinking that the 3 people also owed money, it was reasonable to do so. Lu Shaoqing comforted himself. He could think this way, but other people didn't, especially the servants in his family. When they were catching prawns at the seaside, they could see people from the other 2 families catching prawns there every day. Their speed was much faster than before. Chapter 450. The servants from Chao Herue's family came here on purpose. Not only were they on paid leave today, but they were also given some food and wine in food boxes in the morning when they went to work. Zhang Xiaobao guessed that they would come looking for trouble. If they were wrong, he would just treat them to a meal. When these people came, they began to look for a place where the Lu family ate. They wanted to see where they were going to cook, so they went to the side and ate their own food. Normally, fishermen would not have a place to cook on the shore when they went out to fish. Usually, they would bring rice dumplings from home. There were also rice dumplings that were similar to rice dumplings. The rice was steamed, and some vegetables were rolled up. If it was better, some fish was rolled up, and the outside was wrapped with vegetables. In this way, there were meat dishes and rice. Some liked to eat sour food, so they added some vinegar. Some liked to eat sour food, and some liked to eat it because the weather was hot. When the food was taken out, it would be a little fermented and sour, and it would have a different taste. The Lu family was not used to it, so they specially arranged for people to cook on the shore. They wanted to learn how Zhang Zhong's family treated the working people. For example, when they were working, there were people cooking for them. Now, even if it was not a waste of time, there were people who would give them rolls or giamos. If they did not have a place to cook, wouldn't they be worse than the ordinary people? In fact, their status was not comparable to that of the ordinary people, but they did not think so. They deliberately learned from the ordinary people and asked people to spread a few pancakes, fried 2 vegetarian dishes, and put in some shrimp, small dried fish, and other things to eat. It was only a little different from what the ordinary people ate. They replaced the meat dishes with vegetarian dishes. The servants from Chow Harue's family also knew about this, and deliberately came to laugh at the Lu family. Today, the food that Zhang Xiaobao prepared for them was very good. Smoked chicken made by Zhang Dashan, pig head meat, and in addition to these 2, there were even 5 caddies of spiced beef. Beef was amazing. Normally, they would not even dare to think about eating it, let alone eat it. They made some coriander and garlic sauce for themselves, and found a place to sit not far away. They looked at the sea, which they had long been bored of, and listened to the noise of the waves. Now and then they glanced at the sun, hoping that it would leave soon and that it would be noon. After waiting for a long time, they were all dazed by the sun. Finally, noon came. All the people who were fishing in this area came up at the same time. The Chow family was a little special. They did not have anyone to cook, so Chow Harue brought them big steamed buns with vegetable fillings. According to Zhang Xiaobao, these were good things that could replenish a lot of vitamins. He used fruits to replenish himself. If he ate steamed buns, he wanted to replenish his protein. There was more salt in the steamed buns. Firstly, it could prevent the steamed buns from being sunburned. Secondly, it could save the steamed buns from being dipped in soy sauce. Originally, they were told to bring the steamed buns with them and eat them when they were hungry. However, they gathered all the steamed buns together and put them on the shore so that they could rest for a while. As soon as the people of the Chow family came ashore, the 30 people who worked for the Zhang family shouted at them and asked them to come over and eat there. These people who were catching shrimps on the wooden raft also knew that the 30 people were different from others. They wore new clothes with rice seedlings embroidered on them. They did not eat with them at night like before. Instead, they ate 3 meals a day at the Zhang family. They ate well with meat and vegetables and drank wine. These days, they had been envious. At this time, when they saw that they were called over, they did not hesitate and took the steamed buns to the side where the Lu family servants were eating today. Xiao Xia, come here. Here is some wine for you to drink. Don't you usually say that you want to drink some wine? I brought it here. There is also beef. Eat as much as you can. When we are working there, we can drink wine and eat meat if we want. Our master is the best. Others can't. One of the 30 people shouted at the thin and weak person coming over. His voice was very loud, so loud that the servants of the other 3 families could hear him clearly. Naturally, the servants of the Lu family heard him the most clearly. As he spoke, he opened the bamboo tube that contained the wine and took out the cut meat. He looked in the direction of the servants of the Lu family and pinched a piece of beef. He slowly put it into his mouth and gently chewed twice. Only then did he take a sip of wine. His movements were not small. It was as the saying went, 1 mouthful of food and 1 mouthful of wine. It would be a lie if the Lu family's servants said that they were not greedy. They could only catch some fish to cook at home. They could not taste other meat at all. Even if they brought fish back, they could only see how much oil there was on the fish. If there was no oil, the master would not give them too much oil. They would not care about salt. They could eat whatever they wanted. Looking at the people of the Chow family eating, the people of the Lu family could only pretend that they did not know. Some people quietly scolded them for being shameless. The master family and the Zhang family were at odds, but they still went to the Zhang family to do things. The people of the Lu family could not eat it. They could only smell the fragrance that drifted over. However, the people of the Chow family were different. Everyone had a master. Since they were called over, they would definitely be able to eat it. If they were not called, then it would be another story. The person who was called Xiao Xia was the first to come over. He smiled at the person who called him and said, "Brother Big Fish, you guys are really capable. You can eat such good food and drink wine. Brother Big Fish, are you really going to let me eat it? My name is Du, not Big Fish. Remember, next time you call me by the wrong name, there will be no food to eat." The person who spoke just now corrected him. In fact, he was used to being called Big Fish in the past. Now, he felt that his identity was different. His real name was Big Rain. He did not know where he heard it. There was also a powerful person called Du, so he changed his name. Of course, Xiao Xia did not dare to argue about this matter. If he did, there would be no food to eat. He smiled even more amiably and said, "Brother Du, do you think people like us can also go to the Zhang family to do things?" Du was happy to be called. He pinched 2 pieces of beef and placed them in the palm of Xiao Xia's outstretched hand generously. Then, he handed the bamboo tube over and said, "For this matter, you have to find the master. The master is very capable. He can talk to the people of the Zhang family. Maybe it will work. Compared to the masters of other families, our master is more than 100 times better. What can other masters do? They will be deceived." Yes, the masters of other families can be deceived. Yes, the meat is really delicious. The wine is also good. Xiao Xia echoed. He drank 2 pieces of meat and a mouthful of wine, making him feel comfortable from inside out. Who are you talking about? Which family's master was fooled? Say it clearly. Who is the more capable one? One of the more hot-tempered people from the Lu family finally could not hold it in. It was fine that he smelled the fragrance of the wine and dishes, but he actually dared to talk about his master? He stood up and pointed at Big Fish. This person was half a head taller than Big Fish and was also stronger than him. If it was before, Big Fish could only endure. But now, it was different. He was originally sitting, but he also stood up and shouted at the person who came, "I will talk about whoever comes over. What can you do? Do you dare to touch me? I work for the Zhang family. If you touch me, I will say that I can't do it anymore. I will ask the people of the Zhang family to come over and teach you a lesson. Now that I have told you, I will talk about you. I will say that your master is stupid and was deceived. You think you can take advantage of him. So what? If you can't get the shrimp sauce, you can wait to lose money. My master is capable. Look at the food we eat, and look at the junk you eat. Capable, this is capable. Do you understand?" This person from the Lu family really wanted to make a move, but when he heard what Big Fish said, he could only clench his fists tightly. He was indeed afraid of the Zhang family, not only because Zhang Zhong was the provincial governor, but more importantly, because those people from the Zhang family really dared to kill people. He had a straightforward personality and did not dare to make a move now. When he heard Big Fish proudly belittling his master, he almost cried in anger. The other members of the Lu family also did not dare to come over and cause trouble. They stood there and felt waves of sadness in their hearts. Their master had been deceived. That person surnamed Chow went to the Zhang family to enjoy life. It would be a lie to say that they were not envious. But who could they blame? On their side, the people from the Chow Harue family were happy. They ate and sipped some wine, and kept talking about the Lu family. In any case, there was nothing good to say. The people from the other two families acted as if this matter did not concern them. They were jealous of the Chow family, but they were also happy that the Lu family was being talked about. They had never forgotten that the Lu family did not give them food to eat in the past. The Lu family began to eat. The people of the Lu family began to eat in silence. One of them was quite ambitious. He said to the people beside him, "Hurry up and eat. After you finish eating, go catch prawns. No matter what, we have to deal with this matter. We can't count on others. When we go back, we will tell Master. All officials are the same. Master will not be inferior to anyone. Only shameless people would hug the thigh of the Zhang family." After he said this, the people from the Lu family really gained some morale. They ate faster. The people from the Chow family ate very slowly. The main reason was that they could not bear to eat too quickly. That way, they would not be able to taste the wine and food. They all looked at the people from the Lu family with mocking expressions on their faces. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also eating lunch. The two of them did not know that their strategy of sowing discord had achieved very good results. The two of them came out in the morning and rode on the same horse. They ran towards the project that Qi Dong was in charge of. On the way, they slowed down a little to look at the surrounding scenery and the situation of the grain planted on the ground. When it was almost time for lunch, they arrived at the site. The two of them not only saw the pile of firewood used to cook salt, but also saw the people cooking salt by the sea. At this time, the meal was ready. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found a place to eat. There was no table, and Qi Dong did not make pancakes. For the sake of greed, it was better to cook normally. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan carried their own plates and walked casually to Qi Dong's side. They squatted there and began to eat. As they ate, they stopped to look at Qi Dong. If it was a normal person doing this, Qi Dong would have already become angry. However, he did not dare to provoke the two children of the provincial governor's family. He could only force himself to endure. "Cuckoo, with so many pots used to cook salt, how much salt do you think can be cooked for several days? Is the salt enough for the people working here?" Zhang Xiaobao did not plan to let Qi Dong eat peacefully. He asked Wang Wan. Wang Wan swallowed the food in her mouth. "With so many pots cooking, if the people working here eat the salt, they will probably die. Since it is cooked, why can't I see any salt? Where did the salt go these past few days? Xiaobao, do you know? If you don't know, ask your father. I will ask him later." Chapter 451. Qi Dong Fang looked at the two children and thought they were very interesting. At this time, he couldn't find his previous thoughts. Listening to the two people casually talking, Qi Dong's sweat flowed even faster. He found that the weather was not so hot, and there was a kind of coldness from inside out. If possible, Qi Dong really wanted to strangle the two children to death, but he could only think about it. Not to mention that there were guards standing beside the two children. Even if there was no one beside them, he wouldn't dare to do it. He naturally knew who the two children were. One was the son of the provincial governor, and the other was his future daughter-in-law. If anyone dared to harm them, the people here would tear them apart before the people with the crossbows could do anything. Since he couldn't do it, he could only use other methods. Qi Dong thought about it. He didn't have anything on him that could attract the children, so he grabbed a handful of mud from the ground. There was a lot of sand, so he rubbed it vigorously. He first rubbed out the large grains of sand, and the rest was barely enough to make something. While the others were eating, he made a small stick of grass and made and sculpted it. Soon, the two hands holding each other's hands made a small clay man. Its face looked similar to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Ignoring the uncomfortable feeling of his clothes sticking to his body due to the hot weather and the nervousness, he smiled and brought it closer to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan who were eating. "Little young master, do you think it's fun? If it's fun, I'll make it for the two of you. I can make whatever you want." This was the only method Qi Dong could think of, and he hoped it would be useful. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan put down their chopsticks and looked at the clay man, then looked at Qi Dong and nodded. Without waiting for Qi Dong to say his purpose, Zhang Xiaobao spoke. It's fun. I didn't expect that not only are you good at calculating, but you're also so skillful. Can you really make whatever we want? Yes, absolutely. Little young master and little miss, I'll make it. Seeing that there was hope, Qi Dong hurriedly promised happily. Wang Wan looked at the place where the salt was boiling and said with a smile, I want a clay man like that. What kind? Qi Dong asked. A good deputy county magistrate who is always considerate of the people and won't try his best to make money from selling salt every day. He needs to have a heart that is purer than gemstones, a pair of clear eyes, and a sense of justice. Even if his nose is a little flat, even if he is a little short, even if his eyes are a little small, he is still tall in the eyes of the people. He is as lofty as a mountain and as vast as the sea. I wonder if you can pinch him? Wang Wan said to Qi Dong with a smile. With a clatter, the clay figurine in Qi Dong's hand fell to the ground. Then, with a plop, he knelt down in front of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. His face was full of fear, and his body was trembling. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan continued to eat as if they didn't see it. From time to time, they would give each other their favorite food. They looked like they were innocent. The people nearby also heard Wang Wan's words. As long as they were not stupid, they would know who Wang Wan was talking about. At this time, they realized that County Magistrate Qi had been lying to them to cook salt for the past few days. He said that it was for others to eat and to save money for the provincial governor. In fact, he kept it for himself. They were so angry that they stopped eating. They stood up and surrounded Qi Dong. If it weren't for the fact that little young master and little miss didn't do anything, they would have boiled Qi Dong like seawater to see if they could get a heart that was purer than gemstones. I'm guilty. I know I'm wrong. I'm guilty. Qi Dong thought that he had done a good job and no one would find out. Now he understood that the provincial governor must have found out and sent the two kids here. While saying that he was guilty, he kept kowtowing. Zhang Xiaobao put the last grain of rice into his mouth. He smacked his lips and rinsed his mouth with water. He looked at Qi Dong, who was kneeling there, and said, My father asked me to ask you if you can't do things peacefully because of gambling debts? No, I never gamble. Qi Dong shook his head and answered. Do you have family members who are sick but don't have money to treat them? Do you need good medicine? Zhang Xiaobao asked again. No one is sick. Everyone is fine. Qi Dong continued to shake his head. Do you have children who are married? My son is only 10 years old and my daughter is only 7 years old. How can they get married? No. Since you don't have children, then your crime of corruption can't be reduced. How will you be sentenced? If you are not as good as the law, you will be flogged 70 times. If you are not as good as the law, you will be flogged 100 times. If you are not as good as the law, you will be a disciple for a year. If you are not as good as the law, you will be punished. If you are the one who lost the ransom, you will be punished. If you are the one who begged, you will be punished. If you are the one who gave, you will be punished. If not, you will be sentenced to both. I'm confused. Are you talking about Deputy County Magistrate Qi? Zhang Xiaobao looked at Qi Dong and asked. When Qi Dong heard these two crimes, he shivered. No matter which one he was sentenced to, he wouldn't be punished. Some things couldn't be said. For example, according to the calculations, the new provincial governor's family should have been killed countless times. Bribery, doing business for personal gain, disobeying the rules, having too many servants in the family, privately appointing officials, and some other things that he didn't know about. None of these things would end well. However, no one cared about the provincial governor. He was caught. It didn't matter how serious the crime was. What was important was that he was convicted. Qi Dong, who didn't dare to say anything, could only kowtow and say that he was guilty. He didn't say anything. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao would not sentence Qi Dong to death. He was clever and talented. That was a small account. If he was properly groomed in the future, it would save him a lot of trouble. It would not be a bad idea to let him check the accounts of other departments. Now, What he was thinking about was to let other people see and give an explanation to the people around. Thinking about this, Zhang Xiaobao ordered, "Come, tie Qi Dong up and send him to my father. Flog him 100 times and lock him up for a year. If he doesn't die from the flogging, consider him lucky." When the guards arrived, they had already received instructions. When they heard the order, they tied Qi Dong up without another word. Qi Dong did not struggle either. He was frightened by the 100 beatings. With so many beatings, even if he did not die, he would be skinned alive, not to mention that it was intentional. He clearly knew that Zhang Xiaobao didn't have the authority to tie him up, but he didn't dare to say anything. It was good that he wasn't taken away. Otherwise, when Zhang Xiaobao and the others left, the people would eat him up. At that time, with so many people beating him up, even if he died, it would only be a light punishment. Zhang Zhong probably wouldn't give a heavy sentence to a citizen who beat someone to death. You dare to take bribes and bend the law? Do you think that there aren't any accounting experts in my residence? Everyone, the bad guy has been taken away. Let's all continue eating. Oh, there's also a scribe. Come, take him away too. After Qi Dong was taken away, Zhang Xiaobao said something to the people around him. He also took away the scribe who cooperated with the crime. Only then did he and Wang Wan send the plates of food to the washing place and leave happily. Zhang Xiaobao wasn't worried that other people with thoughts wouldn't know. The speed at which the people spread news was unimaginably fast. In less than a day, everyone in the province would know of this matter. As for how the rumors spread, it didn't matter. Seeing Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan leave, the people who knew of the situation let out chaotic cheers. They began to excitedly tell the people who didn't know the matter. The more they talked, the more ridiculous it became. While the people hated Qi Dong and the scribe, they also admired the good official even more. He was able to see through everything. Doing a little trick and he was caught. The news spread very quickly. By the time Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan rode back to the residence, the people who were working and the management staff all knew of what happened at noon. There were indeed a few who wanted to learn and do it. At this time, they were all frightened. They were glad that they hadn't done it yet. They were also glad that the provincial governor had acted early. Otherwise, when they learned and did it, there would be no chance for regret. Zhang Zhong also heard of this matter. He really didn't know that there was someone who falsified the accounts. After understanding the details, he sighed for Qi Dong. This was a bad idea. The falsification of the accounts reached Xiao Bao. This was purely courting death. The accounts of the family were all managed by the son. There were countless transactions and it was very easy for him to manage. A mere deputy county magistrate dared to falsify the accounts for his son. Qi Dong was not escorted to Zhang Zhong's residence. Instead, he was directly escorted back to the residence. No one beat him. He was also not locked up in a cell. Instead, he was locked up in the woodshed and thrown into a corner. He was left alone. He was locked up until night time. No one came to bring him food or water. The weather was hot and the woodshed was stuffy. After being locked up for half a day, he was a little exhausted. The main reason was not physical problems, but psychological pressure. He didn't know how he would be judged. He also didn't know what his family would do when they heard the news. He spent the whole afternoon thinking about what went wrong. The most clear thing was that the salt the people ate and boiled did not match. However, if it was just checking the accounts, it might not be found out. Unless there was a shrewd person who came to check. Could it be that a commoner could calculate it? Moreover, it was deliberately arranged here. Was it related to the provincial governor? He didn't know that it was because he had made the accounts too detailed and considered too many things. There was also a slight loophole. This was troublesome, especially when it came to firewood. Even if he didn't record it, Zhang Xiaobao wouldn't say anything. Different wood and different cooking methods used different amounts of firewood. Firewood was not valuable, so it was fine if he didn't record it. However, he had written down the amount of firewood used by others. It was purely superfluous. Who knew what he would think if he understood? Xiao Bao, are you just going to lock him up like this? How long will he be locked up? I'm afraid his body can't take it. After returning to the residence, Wang Wan glanced in the direction of the woodshed and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Give him some water at night. As for going to the toilet, he will find a way himself. Otherwise, he will have to endure it. When he understands why we didn't beat him and what he should do, then let him go. For the first 3 days, we can only give him water. He won't die." Chapter 452. When it was a cloudy day at the beach in summer, the sea breeze would bring along the moisture of the sea. The closer one was to the beach, the more uncomfortable their skin would feel. Even if one didn't do any exercise, they would still feel stuffy. Furthermore, the sweat that came out of their bodies would feel hot to the outside, but when they touched their arms, they would feel cold. At this time, the best way to relieve the heat was to take a shower with warm water. Never use cold water. One person would easily get sick, while the other would feel even hotter after this. If the conditions at home allowed it, then they would dig a swimming pool. It was convenient and fast. They could dive in and come out, and it would be cool. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan repeated this action. It was good to have an artesian well. After a flood, they didn't know what happened underground. The water in the artesian well could actually shoot up more than 10 feet high. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't investigate this phenomenon. Instead, they made use of the fountain and built a large pool. They didn't even need a swimming pool. They dug a river and connected it to the river 3 li away. No one objected. Compared to the original provincial governor Shi, it could be said that the difference was like heaven and earth. In the entire manor, other than the front area for official business, the back area was designed into a garden by the two of them. 2-story bamboo buildings stood there. There were ponds, small lakes, all kinds of pavilions, corridors, and canals in the surrounding areas. They also raised some fish and planted flowers. Newcomers would get lost in this garden. Unfortunately, there weren't that many villagers who came to play. Even if they opened the door at the back of the manor and posted a notice for the commoners' children to come and play, no one came. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan spent a lot of effort to design the original courtyard into a children's playground with a small wooden house, a slide, a swing, a seesaw, and a water carousel. However, because no one came, it became a decoration. Only Li Sun, the older child, came to play from beginning to end. Then, the three of them sat in the pool that was less than 2 feet deep, staring at the fake fish carved out of wood in a daze. At noon today, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally couldn't stand the sultry weather. It looked like it was going to rain, but there was no wind. For the whole morning, not a single drop of rain fell. They were too close to the beach, and their bodies were wet and sticky. They asked someone to guard the door of the fountain and jumped in to soak. Underground water was indeed different. It was bone-chilling. After soaking in it for a while, it would come out and warm up. It was a little addictive. It's been 2 days. Qi Dong has been locked up for 2 days. After a while, it will be 3 days. He has been drinking water all this time. Should we send him some food? He must be feeling terrible today. Wang Wan finally stopped feeling stuffy. She shook her wet hair and reminded Zhang Xiaobao. There's no rush. We'll see tomorrow. If you still can't figure out what to do, just give him something to eat. I think a steamed bun a day should be enough. What's the reaction of Lu Shaoqing and the others? Send someone to ask them later. Zhang Xiaobao estimated that as long as Qi Dong had enough water and didn't commit suicide, he wouldn't die in a short time. On the contrary, he was more concerned about Lu Shaoqing and the others. He didn't get any information today, so he didn't know how the division plan was going. When the two people's hair was almost dry, the person who went to inquire finally came back. Little master, little miss, nothing happened. The 4 of them have been in their own houses for the past 2 days. Although they are close to each other, they don't have much contact. The servants in their houses seem to have become well-behaved. Even if they meet every day, they just don't talk. They haven't fought. The person who inquired about the news came back to report. Hearing this news, Zhang Xiaobao was satisfied and said, "It's good that things are stable. Otherwise, if they fight again, the hatred that was accumulated with great difficulty will be released. Small conflicts are easy to solve. Only when the accumulation reaches a certain level, will it be uncontrollable and continue to the next step." Lu Shaoqing was still in a worrying situation. His subordinates had tried their best to catch prawns, but the amount was far from enough. There were only 100 jars. If they could get all the prawns caught by the other 3 families, it might be enough. But now, Zhang Zhong had ordered people to spread the news that a jar of prawn sauce would be sold for 10 strings of coins. There were a dozen or so people who happened to have a jar in their houses and had already gone to exchange it for money. The 4 families were catching prawns and waiting to sell them when they were ready. They originally wanted to see if any other people were catching prawns and buy some at a high price. In the end, all the people were busy. Some were digging the river, some were building houses, and some fishermen had already joined the Zhang family's fishing business. There were less than 20 days left. Even if it was heated manually, it would take a long time. If there were no more prawns, they would have to wait to lose money. We gathered for profit, so why should we complain about profit? If there is wealth in the dynasty, we will leave without profit. Sigh. Good move, Zhang Zhong. Oh Zhang Zhong, what a good move to sow discord. You clearly saw through it, but you couldn't avoid it. Lu Shaoqing sat there. It was unknown whether it was the gloomy weather that made his mood bad, or he suddenly thought it through. He muttered a few words to himself. He wasn't the only one who understood. Chao Harue also knew that this was Zhang Zhong's plan. But even if he knew about the plan to sow discord, he had to jump into the trap in order to be able to pay off the debt as soon as possible. How could he not earn 10 strings of coins for a jar of prawn sauce? Chao Harue found a reason for himself when he betrayed and felt a little better. Master, good news. Master, the price of prawn sauce has increased again. The Zhang family's people came out and said that a jar of prawn sauce is 15 strings of coins. Pickled vegetable store will only accept 1,000 jars of prawn sauce. Master, hurry up and make it. Chao Harue's servant hurriedly ran in and happily told his master, who was sitting in the middle of the courtyard and feeling a little better, what he saw just now. 15 strings of coins? Tell those 30 people who only know how to drink to do their jobs properly. They can't be delayed. Chao Harue's heart was beating a little faster and a little unsteadily because of this news. He knew that those 30 people ate and drank well in the Zhang family and rarely helped out. It was fine if it was in the past, but not now. Money. Time was money. The Zhang family gave them a high salary. If they really worked hard, they could make 2 jars of prawn sauce with the salary of 1 person a day. They would only accept 1,000 jars of prawn sauce. This promise was made. For the sake of their reputation, the Zhang family would not go back on their word. 30 people would make 60 jars a day. 600 jars in 10 days. How much money would that be? 9,000 strings of coins. They would still have money left after paying back all the money. The servant hurriedly ran over and hurriedly left after receiving the order. When the news of 15 strings of coins for a jar was released, some of the people were tempted. They wanted to catch prawns to make prawn sauce in their free time. However, Zhang Zhong posted another notice saying that he was going to build a seawall to prevent typhoons and tidal waves from destroying the houses. When the people were given a choice between money and Zhang Zhong, most of them chose Zhang Zhong. Only a small number of them chose money. When it was their turn to work, they did not work hard. When they were resting, they would go catch prawns. For 2 days in a row, a small number of people did not work hard. This made Zhang Zhong feel a little sad. He had done so much for Lu Zhou. Under the circumstances where he was not forced, his words could not be compared to that little bit of money. The people who had just destroyed their homes and those who did not want to face the disaster. This is human nature. Never think of others as how they should be. Who can you blame for that? This notice is a touchstone. Yes, between heaven and hell, the outcome is decided when you make the choice. Those who don't work hard are not needed from tomorrow onwards. Let's catch prawns. When Zhang Xiaobao received the news, he did not look sad at all. He only felt sad for those people. 15 strings of coins for a jar of prawn sauce. Prawn sauce? They were all waiting for a pie to fall from the sky. Wang Wan also felt that it was not worth it for those who chose to catch prawns. There was no such thing as 15 strings of coins. It was all a scam. Apart from the pickling line, the fishing line was almost done. Many people thought that the pickling line belonged to the Zhang family and the fishing line belonged to the Zhang family. Therefore, the prawn sauce they received was not from the Zhang family. They were too naive. Various industries shared shares and settled accounts separately. Even if that was not the case, they could just find someone to buy the prawn sauce from the fishing line and sell it to the pickling line. At that time, those who wanted to cry would cry, and those who wanted to laugh would laugh. They would be able to see the various forms of life again. If the wind does not blow, the leaves will fall. If the water does not ripple, the fish will live. If the heart is not calm, there is nothing to be done. The sky is cloudy and there are many floating clouds. Wang Wan missed Zhuangzi, where the Zhang family and the Wang family lived. There were not many worries there. Every time the farmers made a choice, they would listen to the master, and the master had never disappointed them. Help, help. I know what to do. Help. Bang bang. I know what to do. Help. Xiao Bao, did you hear something? Wang Wan suddenly heard someone shouting for help. Zhang Xiaobao had locked Qi Dong up for nearly 5 days. He finally heard something and pulled Wang Wan over. I heard it. Qi Dong is banging on the door. He has figured it out. Let's go and ask him what he knows. Do we need to call a guard? Wang Wan was afraid that Qi Dong would suddenly attack them. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand. Let's go. There is no need to call a guard. He ate a steamed bun yesterday and has been drinking water for the past few days. Who do you think he is? Without salt, a steamed bun can heal him. His legs are still tied. Help. I know what to do. I will do whatever you want me to do. I can even fake the accounts. I can't take it anymore. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan arrived outside the woodshed, they heard Qi Dong's weak voice. You don't say, he's really smart. He knows how to do what he's told. Wang Wan praised. Zhang Xiaobao chuckled. How many fools would be willing to spend so much effort to fake the accounts? Let's have a good chat with him. The two of them stood outside the door of the firewood shed. Qi Dong, who was inside, noticed that the crack in the door was dark. He peeked out with one eye and immediately said happily, Young master, young lady, quickly tell His Excellency. I understand what His Excellency means. I will listen to him. Chapter 453. The news of Qi Dong being exiled spread. Only a few people knew that he had been exiled, but not many knew where he had been exiled to. Many people did not know where would be more suitable than Lingnan to be exiled. In short, this person was no longer in Luzhou. Even his family had left with him, making it impossible for those who wanted to find him. With such an example, all the people in charge became obedient. When Zhang Xiaobao saw that things were on track, he and Wang Wan led the 56 members of the No. 0 protection team to train. This time, the place they chose was a little far from the state capital. They were going to enter the 100,000 mountains to hunt for prey. The most important thing was to train the guards to fight in the jungle. Zhang Xiaobao was personally in charge of this. Although Wang Wan was trained in martial arts, she was not as good as Zhang Xiaobao when it came to fighting in the jungle. Zhang Xiaobao had learned a thing or two in prison when he was in China. When he was abroad, he specially found a place with a lot of jungles to train hard. The instructors he hired were all people from the special forces. There were people from various countries, and each country had its own characteristics. This was especially true when they entered Africa, which was still in turmoil. Some of those people had even lived in the jungle since they were young. This allowed Zhang Xiaobao to learn a lot, even though he was not as good as the experts who had lived in the jungle for most of their lives. With such a good thing happening, Li Sun also came to join in the fun. When he knew that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were going to bring people to the mountains, he deliberately prepared his backpack, which was filled with the things he used to train in the wilderness. He also made sufficient preparations for the 50 guards he was going to bring this time. Each of them had a backpack. However, when he met up with Zhang Xiaobao and the others at the entrance, he found that they did not have any backpacks at all. They were wearing different clothes, which were yellow and green. There were many pockets on their bodies, and there were some things stuffed in them. It did not look like much, and each of them was holding a black machete in their hands. There was nothing else, not to mention that he was carrying a crossbow. Xiaobao, that's not right. Where's the backpack? Why didn't you prepare it? Don't you have to organize everything in advance to survive in the wilderness? What are you going to eat when the time comes? Li Sun asked Zhang Xiaobao. Who said that we have to prepare everything in advance to survive in the wild? If I give you time to prepare, you can do it. If you don't have time, where will you go to prepare? Just like that, we put on the leg bindings and set off. We have to hurry all the way. This place is 320 li away from the mountain. The requirement is that we reach it in 3 days and 2 nights, which is 30 hours. Young Master Li, when you can't run anymore, you can ride with me and Cuckoo. Zhang Xiaobao began to put on the leg bindings. Li Sun didn't say anything. He waved to the people behind him, and the guards of the Wang mansion also began to put on the leg bindings. Li Sun also trained them normally, learning from Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The 50 people who were selected listened to the distance and estimated the time. They felt that this was an impossible task. After the leg bindings were done, the people of the protection team put their swords behind their backs, warmed up their legs a little, and stood in 2 rows to start running. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun followed behind the 56 people. There were more than 10 horses beside them, and they also ran with them. Li Sun's guards were at the back, so that the 3 people in the middle would not be in danger. This time, Li Sun also understood. It seemed to be different from the survival in the wild in the past. When he was running, he could still keep up at the beginning, but he didn't dare to speak. He adjusted his breathing and pace using the method he learned from Zhang Xiaobao. This kind of speed was acceptable for adults, but it was a little difficult for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The 2 of them used a quarter of an hour to run nearly 7 miles. They left the team and jumped on their horses. This kind of speed was too slow for adults. They ran more than 3 kilometers in 15 minutes. However, for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, this was already the limit. Even if the 2 of them had been training very seriously and constantly improving themselves, they couldn't run further, let alone reduce their speed to less than 3 minutes per kilometer. They couldn't even vomit blood. Moreover, they could only persist for such a long distance, and it was on the road that had been repaired. This had already frightened Li Sun. He followed the team's speed, but he couldn't continue after running for 3 miles. He sat on the horse at the side and panted. He regretted carrying a backpack. The things inside were very heavy. The guards of the prince's mansion were not relaxed either. Not only did they carry backpacks, but they also carried knives and crossbows. It was very heavy. However, the people of the Sprout Protection Team could persist. They usually had to carry weights during their training. Now that they didn't carry weights, it was naturally not so tiring to run. Slow down. Don't run so fast. I'll let you run for a quarter of an hour to feel comfortable without weights. Do you really think you can keep running? You can run 7 miles in a quarter of an hour, 28 miles in 2 hours. Can you run 140 miles in 10 hours? Today you have to run for 14 hours, 100 miles. Adjust yourselves. Rest in the middle is also included. Wang Wan, who was on the horse, saw that the people of the Sprout Protection Team were in a frenzy. They were preparing to compete with the prince's mansion's guards on foot. She quickly shouted for them to slow down. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to do anything else after running for 2 hours at this speed. Wang Wan knew in her heart that 100 miles in 14 hours was not a lot. When she looked at historical materials in the past, the People's Liberation Army's fastest forced march could run 100 miles in 14 hours. They also had to carry heavy weapons and ammunition with them. They could go into battle after a little rest. They were inhuman existences. It was also at that time that she decided to enter the military academy. This time, it was 320 miles. In fact, it was similar to the 345 miles in the other world. In 2.5 days, they should be able to carry 3 days' worth of food, a knife, rope, and salt that didn't take up much weight. It should be very easy. The people of the Sprout Protection Team were used to the doctrine that military orders were absolute. When they heard the young lady's words, they immediately began to adjust themselves. The Prince's Mansion's guards had been suppressed just now. Now that there was a chance, they rushed up and ran in front of the Sprout Protection Team. Li Sun originally wanted them to slow down. But after thinking for a while, he felt that it was better to let them run. When they couldn't run anymore, he would take care of them properly in case it happened again in the future. Come on, hurry up, overtake their boat. Overtake one more boat. There are more in front. In the canal from Chuzhou to Hangzhou, a boat with full sail was moving fast all the way. Perhaps it felt that this speed was not fast enough. The wheels on both sides of the boat were also rotating. At the same time, the back of the boat turned over at the same time. Exin stood at the bow of the boat and shouted excitedly. The guards next to her didn't know what "come on" meant. When they heard her shout, they asked curiously, "Young lady, what do you mean by come on? Don't you know how to come on?" Xiao Bao and Cuckoo sometimes shout like this. The propeller at the back needs to be turned like an axle. It needs some oil, otherwise it won't be able to turn. So you have to come on. Exin explained to the guards seriously. At this time, the boat overtook another boat, which made the people on the boats look sideways. They didn't know where the boat came from. It was so fast. When they saw the rice seedlings on the flag, they knew that it was a boat from between the clouds and the water, the kind that could easily travel the sea. The human-powered propeller below had been working for 6 hours, but it was still not broken. The things made by the Ministry of Works were indeed better than those made by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's family. The ones made by the Zhang family usually didn't dare to use, as they had a backup plan. Usually, it was good enough to guarantee that they could keep the propeller running for 2 hours. Although the propeller was not as fast as the one that burned diesel, or rather, it couldn't be compared at all. The speed of rotation was slow, and it didn't work even if lever was used. However, for a boat at this time, it had some effect if the sail and wheels were used together. Today, there was a good wind, so they could sail at full speed. Exin wanted to reach the destination early, and the old man also wanted to see how it looked like when the boat was at full speed. The wheels on both sides started to rotate, and the propeller below also started to rotate. The boat overtook all the way like this. Some boats were not convinced, so they used both the sail and the oars to compete, but they were left behind even more. Quick, there are 2 more boats. They are overtaking them too. Her clothes fluttered in the wind. Exin felt very happy today. She jumped and screamed, scaring the people who were protecting her. The 2 boats didn't seem to want to be overtaken, so they also rowed with all their might. However, the distance between the 2 boats was constantly closing. After a while, the boat caught up to the tail of one of the boats. No one knew what the people on the 2 boats were thinking, but suddenly, the boat in front of them started to turn to the side and slow down. If the boat still followed the original route, it would definitely hit the side of the boat. Even if it was an ordinary boat now, it couldn't change the direction. Even if the sails were lowered and all the oars were leveled, it would still be useless. The old man stood on the deck and scolded, "Whose boat is so arrogant? You want to risk your life? Lower the sails, stop the propellers, reverse the 2 wheels, and put up a stick." Following the old man's order, the sails quickly lowered, and the propellers behind also stopped. The people on both sides of the boat began to struggle to stop the pedals under their feet. Then, they began to reverse the pedals. The axles of the wheels on both sides of the boat made a squeaking sound. A few holes on the first floor of the boat were pulled open, and a thick piece of wood stretched out from the holes. The old man took out his clairvoyance and looked at the boat in front of him. He wanted to know who was on the boat, but he couldn't see it from the stern. Even if the boat in front of him turned a little and made preparations to intercept, he still couldn't see the front deck. The ship finally slowed down as its two wheels reversed. However, it did not completely stop, let alone reverse. Just as it was about to collide with the ship suddenly reversed its direction and accelerated again, leaving the ship behind. The old man now understood that the people on the boat deliberately made such movements to scare people. Thinking of this, he became angrier and ordered, "Chase after them. If they slow down again, just hit them directly." Chapter 454. Once the boat switched to the jib sail, it could go against the wind. However, there was a prerequisite, which was that the waterway in front of them was wide enough. Otherwise, if they went in a zigzag pattern, they would hit the banks on both sides. This broken canal was not very wide, so the boat could only make small adjustments. All three propulsion systems were at full power. Without waiting for the two boats in front to go far, the boat caught up. The two boats in front were lowering their sails, and the oars on both sides were rowing with all their might. Rush over and see who dares to do this on the river. At the old man's command, the ship quickly rushed over and retracted the stick that extended out from the first floor. Turning around, the other stick that was wrapped in iron stretched out. This was something thought up by someone from the ordnance surveillance. The purpose was not to get the other boat into the water, unless it extended from below. However, that would also get their own boat into the water. From this height, if the enemy boat was a little shorter, then this stick could directly reach the deck of the other party, sweeping left and right, causing the other party to be flustered. If the enemy boat was also high, then it could knock a hole in the other boat in an instant. Throwing things that could burn to create some trouble, then turning around was to minimize the damage when colliding with their own people. The two boats seemed to want to do the same thing again. The boat in front of Wei Wei turned to the side, but this time, the old man was determined to hit it. The people on the front deck had already retreated to a safe position, but the boat did not slow down in the slightest as it rushed over. With this kind of posture, the people on the boat in front were the first to panic. They had no choice but to turn the boat back, but this turn was a little slower, and the stick still hit the hull of the boat. After the sound of wood shattering, the position of the intercepting boat changed, but there were 4 large holes left on the hull of the boat. They were very irregular holes, and there were also thick wooden planks protruding out. After a while, the old man came out of the cabin and took out his clairvoyance to look at the deck of the other party. The people beside him also stood at the side of the boat and shouted, "Who are you? How dare you block the boat of Yin Qing Guanglu?" The bodyguard shouted confidently, but the other side did not dare to answer. Yin Qing Guang Lu Dafu was a lower-class, third-rank official. Don't look at how the old man had already resigned from the upper-class, third-rank official. He was still an official, and he had a 5th-rank noble title. Therefore, those who knew him did not dare to underestimate him. The people on the boat obviously knew what kind of official this was. No one came out to say anything. When the old man was about to let people board the boat, a person stood out and said, "Is that Minister Bai, Sir Bai? It's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. We accidentally bumped into each other and didn't manage to turn the rudder over. We are from the Ning family of Qin province. Please forgive us." "The Ning family of Qinzhou? Well, tell them we got it. Let's go." When the old man heard that they were from the Ning family, he naturally thought of the provincial governor of Qin province. If they were to meet again in the future, he would let them off this time. Otherwise, he would impeach him. The bodyguard shouted a few words, and the boat overtook them. As for the damaged area, no one mentioned it. Not only was the other party's boat damaged, the hole in the wooden plank was also torn open. The old man deliberately checked it and said, "Today, we bumped into each other today. Otherwise, If we were to wait for the war to start and damage ourselves, we wouldn't have time to repair it. In a while, 2 people will go down to the military station and report this matter to the Ministry of Works. Let them think of a solution. As for whether it's wrapped in iron or thickened, that's their problem. Grandfather, isn't Qin province near where we are going? Is it near the sea? I have never seen what the sea looks like. It must be. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a boat. Xian Air, who was beside them, also heard this and said with a yearning look. Only then did the old man realize. When did the Ning family of Qin province have a boat? Moreover, it was a big boat with sails and oars. After thinking about it carefully, the old man understood. He chuckled and said to his granddaughter, "Heir, this is all thanks to your Uncle Zhang's family. Ever since they have a big boat to make money, other people will also be tempted. Ning family can also enter the sea over there. They just need to pass the Qin River. The Ning family also has business in other places. They must have sent people here to spread the news. That's why they bought 2 boats. They must have a lot of valuable things on them. They should also copy the Zhang family's fleet and sail close to the sea. With the 2 boats, the money they earn can buy another big boat. It's good that Ning family thinks this way. If their boat wants to go back, they will have to pass through Lu Zhou's Bay. Didn't the Zhang family's map show that Qin province collects tolls from them? I know, Grandpa. After selling the goods on their 2 boats, they definitely won't be able to buy another boat. Lu Zhou will also collect tolls from them. Unless they don't go to the Qin River and stop at another shore and change to the land route, they won't be able to earn enough money to buy a boat. It's very troublesome to travel by land. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo just put the map of Lu Zhou's game in the map book. They are surrounded by mountains. If they want to travel by land, they will have to cross the mountains. It's a waste of money and time. Grandpa, let's go quickly. When we get there, tell Xiao Bao and Cuckoo to send their boats. If 18 boats collide with 2 boats, they will definitely sink. Xian Air didn't wait for her grandpa to finish speaking. She also thought about the situation over there. She was good at games and knew how to read the map. As long as someone told her where he had played the game before, she could roughly imagine the situation over there. This might be one of the benefits of playing games. Perhaps it was because she played games, but Xian Air treated this as a game. She analyzed the business and military aspects of the game and prepared to use military means to destroy the 2 boats. The old man looked at his granddaughter and knew that she was a gamer. Sometimes, she couldn't even tell the difference between reality and games. This was especially true last month. His granddaughter took out the money she had saved with great difficulty to do business. After she earned more than 30 strings of coins, she became even more obsessed with games. Fortunately, this game sometimes required a lot of knowledge. The more difficult the game was, the more knowledge would be required. If she didn't have the ability, she would just play a lower difficulty game. Xian Air's business was simple. She sold local specialties, local handicrafts, and maps. She was playing a game of dice when she hit a lucky spot. It happened to be a fork in the map. She would have won if she continued to play, but the lucky spot said that her little character had no sense of direction and couldn't find the road. She had to turn around and go back. She followed the rules and turned around for the little character. There happened to be a shop next to it that sold everything but maps. So she took out the money she had saved and hired the students of the academy to draw dozens of maps of Sanshui County. She marked the important places on the maps. Then she used the rest of the money to buy some local specialties and handicrafts in the market and arranged for people to sell them. The price was 5 times the cost. She didn't say that some people were also bad at directions. They couldn't find the place and had to ask others. It was very difficult. Those who had some money didn't care about the cost of a map. Plus, they also bought the local specialties and handicrafts. They looked at the map while appreciating the other 2 things. In just half a month, she made 30 strings of cash, which was left after she took the initiative to pay the tax. Originally, no one asked her to pay the tax, but she insisted that she couldn't break the rules. The old man was stunned at that time. Playing a game allowed his granddaughter to make money. He didn't care about the amount of money. The main thing was that this game could let the children be exposed to new things. Although they could make money in the game and lose money in real life, the idea of the game could enlighten the children. He didn't know if the game missed something or deliberately omitted something, but there was no incident of selling maps in the game. Similarly, there was no value of maps. It was this flaw that made his granddaughter find a business opportunity. The old man thought about what happened at that time. The happiness of the family, the happiness of the servants, and the praise of others did indeed change the mood. Although the status of a businessman was not high, no one would use this to judge a little girl who was less than 10 years old. At this time, when he heard his granddaughter's analysis, he still acted militarily and quickly said, "Ex-heir, you can't crash into other people's boats. This isn't a game. You have to use the same method to defeat them. Think about it carefully. Forget about the military for now." The old man felt that this was a little difficult. He didn't think of it himself, and his granddaughter couldn't think of it at the moment. This was a good way to stop his granddaughter from anxiously urging the boats to go faster. Unexpectedly, just as he finished speaking, Ex-heir thought of a solution. "Grandpa, the business method is very simple. As long as we have enough capital and enough boats, we can make the Ning family suffer losses. In business, there are two ways to say it: smuggling and dumping. Even if they seal off Qinzhou, they can't seal off the surrounding areas. At that time, they can send people to smuggle the same goods over. Then, they can lower the price and increase the price of the local goods. This will create a false impression that the foreign goods are not as valuable as the local goods. If the Ning family is smart enough, they can use money to buy the goods that are lower in price. Then, they can resell them. However, this won't work. They don't have many boats, so we can still make a small profit by lowering the price. If they want to buy all of the goods, then they might as well ship them from other places. We have many boats here, and we have our own docks and shipping companies. A large amount of goods can be shipped over. If they buy all of the goods, then we can lower the price again. If we lower the price for Qinzhou and raise the price for the other provinces, wouldn't they be collecting tolls from other people? Then, when they are preparing to ship the goods to other provinces, the other provinces will also collect tolls from them. If they also use smuggling methods, then we can continue to lower the price. This is a competition of wealth. We can make them feel like this business is of little value. It's tasteless, but it's a pity to abandon it. I believe that the Zhang family can definitely afford it. They have many boats, and it's convenient to transport goods. Don't underestimate this. When I was playing games with them, one of them was actually willing to pay several years' worth of profits to suppress me. The old man listened to his granddaughter's words and looked at the serious expression on his granddaughter's face when she used business methods to attack the Ning family. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Perhaps there were many loopholes in this plan, but not everyone had this kind of analytical ability, especially for such a young child. Chapter 455. The old man patted his granddaughter's head and said emotionally, "The Zhang family, this game can actually train people. You have to learn the layout of a game when you play. Otherwise, you can only play the simplest game and won't be able to improve at all. The higher the level of the game, the more important the layout is. Maybe many children can only play the simplest game, but as long as a small number of them can make it, then they will be talents in the future. This game's classification is like a staircase. Not only do you need to be flexible, but you also need to be strong. If you can't accept failure, then you can only quit. It's like a big wave washing away the sand. Those who can survive in the highest level of the game will find their own opportunities even in real life. Ex-heir, if you want to play, then play. If you don't understand, ask. Don't be afraid of being defeated. It's just some small characters and items. Ask Xiao Bao and Cuckoo for them. Ex-heir, tell Grandpa, who do you usually play with? They seem to be pretty good. Let Grandpa know. Ex-heir had spent a lot of energy just now. For a child of her age, it was very tiring to set up a trap, and she couldn't think so thoroughly. However, she never gave up, even if she lost time and time again. Indeed, she had to lose. Her opponent was too strong. At this time, she was still immersed in her calculations. When she heard Grandpa's question, she smiled and said, "I know. That's why I want to go there early. I want to ask Xiao Bao and Cuckoo for things. Their family is in this business, so they must have a lot of things. I want the best, carved from jade. I also want to compete with them to see who is better. Grandpa, I don't usually play with children. They can't beat me. I usually go to the Zhang family's game store and play with the people there. They are really good. It's very difficult to force a tie. It's not bad if I can win 3 out of 10 times. Usually, I win 2 times. Recently, I've played a few hundred times, but I haven't won once. I only tied 6 times. I played with Song Jinggong at the little Luo Shui pier. He seems to know many patterns. As long as I use them, it will be fine. However, I can't figure out the patterns. It seems different, but when I think about it carefully, I lose in the same place. I'm analyzing these patterns. After I learn them, I can use them in real life. He doesn't know how to go easy on me. When I see Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, I'll say more bad things about him. When the old man heard his granddaughter say that she went to the store to compete, he knew that his granddaughter couldn't win. How could the people there be defeated so easily? When he heard that she could win 2 or 3 times out of 10 rounds, he was proud of his granddaughter. She was indeed a little rich girl who could earn 30 strings of cash. When he heard that she couldn't win a single round even after playing a few hundred rounds, he suddenly had the urge to know who that person was and pull him to his side. That person was really capable. When he found out that it was Song Jinggong, the old man felt that his granddaughter should be shown to the 2 masters of the Zhang family when they arrived at the place. Song Jinggong was the person the Zhang family left behind to oversee the 2 counties' businesses, including the shipyard and the shipyard. How many businesses of the Zhang family had passed through his hands? What kind of person was he? He could be said to be a business genius. When the Zhang family didn't care, he had to hold up the sky by himself. After the Zhang family left, all the money-making methods were thought up by Song Jinggong himself. Who didn't want to rope him in? Unfortunately, no matter who tried to rope him in, it was useless. One only needed to ask around a little to know that he had lost to the masters of the Zhang family. He had lost wholeheartedly. When others praised him as a business genius, he would always shake his head with a bitter smile and say to the person praising him, "You will never know how powerful that person is." With him around, no one in the Tang Empire dares to challenge him. My little idea is nothing. I am so tired after scheming once, but to that person, it is as easy as blowing off dust. If you want me to join you, then don't expect me to give you advice on the same business as the Zhang family. I don't dare. I see that I have grown up a little. Everyone understood the first part of the sentence. That was, Song Jinggong was afraid of that person from the Zhang family. He didn't even have the courage to fight back. However, the last part was that he had grown up again. No one could understand what had scared Song Jinggong so much when he talked about joining other forces. The old man didn't know either, but he knew Song Jinggong's ability. His granddaughter was able to tie with him for 6 out of a few hundred rounds. This was already amazing. Song Jinggong had always been in contact with business. He had probably been taught by the masters of the Zhang family. He actually knew several business models. How many children of his granddaughter's age could tie with him for 6 out of a few hundred rounds? Thinking of that, the old man felt a little sorry for his granddaughter. That would definitely be played on the highest level map. The rules would also change accordingly. How tired would his granddaughter be when she played? Thinking of this, the old man hugged his granddaughter tightly, kissed her, and asked, "Xer, were you tired when you played against young Master Song?" Xer took a deep breath, nodded, and said, "Grandpa, it was not enough to describe it. I even wanted to die. Every step was calculated, and I didn't take it one step at a time. At the highest level, playing dice, the proportion of luck was very, very small. It was so small that it was almost non-existent. Sometimes, even if you knew it was a trap, you still had to jump into it. At the critical moment, you looked for a breakthrough, for that little bit of money. Otherwise, if you went around, the gap would be widened. Sometimes, you had to be as still as a mountain while watching others make money. Sometimes, you had to show a courageous attitude when you knew it was a trap. When playing with that damn Song Jinggong, not only did you have to worry about making money, you also had to face some pressure outside of the game. At the highest level, this game was full of traps, one after another. At the beginning, you didn't know. You were clearly making money, but as you played, you started to lose money. It was inexplicable. Grandpa, to be honest, there were a few times when I was scared and wanted to give up. But I knew that you were the Minister of Revenue, and you were in charge of money. Isn't this just a game of money? I could stand it, and I persevered in the end. That damn Song Jinggong even praised me. He said that I was a genius of the generation, and asked me to play with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. If I could tie with Xiao Bao in a business game, and compete with Cuckoo in a military game, then he would be no match for me. Even if it was a war, as long as my soldiers were not that weak, I wouldn't have to be afraid. Oh. Is it so good to tie with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo in 2 different games? Then when the time comes, I will compete with them. Exiner, it must have been hard for you. Tell Grandpa, which games did you tie with Song Jinggong? The last 10 games before we came out, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. These 6 games were all ties. Xiner shivered at the mention of those 6 games. It must have left a deep impression on her. The old man was moved again. The last 10 games, 8, 9, and 10 were all ties. It was definitely not because Song Jinggong gave in. At that time, Song Jinggong didn't know that they were leaving. He tied 3 games in a row. In other words, his granddaughter had been improving while enduring so much pressure. She wasn't afraid of losing. As long as she kept learning and improving during the process of losing, it was a gain. No, he must send his granddaughter to the Zhang family and let the experts of the Zhang family teach her. It would be a waste if he didn't find a good teacher for her. He didn't have the ability to teach her, even if he was the Minister of Revenue. The old man thought and hugged his granddaughter like he was hugging a treasure. Xiner huddled in her grandpa's arms and didn't think about the last few games. She just wanted to see Xiao Bao and Cuckoo as soon as possible so that she could ask for more game items. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't know that someone was coming. Moreover, it was someone they also missed. They were still forcefully marching. At this time, it was already afternoon. At noon, they hurriedly ate some food and rested for a while before the troops continued to advance. This afternoon, Li Sun's guards were no longer able to run to the front. On the other hand, the Zhang family's Team Zero was still full of energy and stamina. They kept running forward at the same speed. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would follow them for a while when they rested. They did everything according to their physical conditions. They never showed off. They knew that their bodies were still young and they needed to wait. When they were 15 or 16 years old, they believed that no one could be better than them except for some people with good stamina. Xiao Bao, do you need to take a break? Look at our people, they are already a little absent-minded. Wang Wan sat on the horse and followed them. When she saw that Wei Wei closed the eyes of the 56 people on her side, she asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao knew that the 56 people were deliberately relaxing to save a little bit of stamina. However, this kind of relaxation meant that their stamina was about to run out. After thinking for a while, Wei Wei shook her head and said to Wang Wan, "Don't worry. Wait a little longer. Now, we have already fallen behind the guards of the Wang mansion by half a mile. Don't underestimate this half mile. This is a competition of stamina and willpower. Don't let the guards of the Wang mansion catch up. The guards of the Wang mansion can still hold on. When they can't hold on anymore, stop and rest for a while. At the same time, drink some water." Wang Wan understood as soon as she heard this. Zhang Xiaobao was helping Li Sun's guards. He wanted them to hold on and only rest when their stamina couldn't hold on anymore. In this way, Some people would break through their limits slowly. They wouldn't break through while running. This would easily leave behind sequelae. There would be an imbalance between the mental and physical secretions. Thinking of this, Wang Wan nodded and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Then let's do this. When can our people find such an opportunity?" "Young Master Li, this time I am helping you. When the time comes, your guards will have better patience and willpower than before. As long as they follow this training, of course, we can't control them if they quit halfway." "They dare. I want to see who will quit halfway," Li Sun said. Chapter 456. Rest on the spot for an hour. Drink water and eat. 2 people in a group and massage each other. Wang Wan felt that it was almost time. Some of the guards of the prince's mansion were already staring blankly in front of them. This situation showed that they no longer cared about other things and only kept the thought of alternating their feet. At this time, if there was a pit or something in front of them, they would definitely fall. The guards of the prince's mansion were indeed not ordinary. Their physical functions had reached the limit and they were holding on with their willpower. With Wang Wan's order, the 56 people changed from running to strolling. They walked around Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and took out water to sip. Some of the guards of the prince's mansion were still running forward and were stopped by others. Some bent over and retched, some covered their faces with their hands because of discomfort, and more lay there, gasping for breath while facing the sky. Only then did Li Sun know that the training methods he usually learned were not enough. After running for this distance, the difference between the two was obvious. He said to the guards, "Run, continue to run so fast and show off. Are you not convinced? Do you want to suppress the people of the vigorous protection team? In terms of fighting, they are not as good as you. But they are specially trained for this. You don't know your enemy. In the future, be smarter. Don't be silly and use your weakness to compete with others' strength. Can you win? Get up later and continue to run. You can run slowly, but you can't stop." In fact, the guards of the prince's mansion were not in the mood to listen to what the little prince said. They all wanted to die. From inside to outside, from top to bottom, there was no place that was not uncomfortable. The people of the protection team first adjusted their bodies, drank some water, ate a little jerky, and then massaged each other. After lying down for a quarter of an hour, they got up and began to help the guards of the prince's mansion. 6 people were on guard and 50 people gave one-to-one massages. It might not be noticeable if the members of the protection team had made any progress in other aspects, but they were getting more and more skilled in massaging. The guards of the prince's mansion groaned in pleasure. Even those who had a headache due to lack of oxygen earlier also relaxed. Some even fell asleep. After pressing for 15 minutes, there was still 15 minutes left before the end of the break. The guards of the prince's mansion no longer wanted to get up. They just wanted to lie down and sleep. It would be even better if someone continued to massage them. However, they knew that it was just a thought. No one dared to not get up. They all took out water and food to replenish themselves. At this moment, a few cars came from the front. They stopped in front of the crowd. There was a rice sprout logo on the cars, which made them feel slightly relieved. As soon as the car door opened, more than a dozen doctors came out of the car and ran to the front to take the pulse of more than 100 people here. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were no exception. They also let the doctors take a look. "How is it? Who can't do it?" Li Sun asked with concern. It seemed like he was the only one who couldn't do it. "They're all fine. 12 of them still need to rest for half an hour." The leader was a medical doctor. He summarized the opinions of the other doctors and gave a suggestion. "Then why don't you rest a little longer?" Li Sun turned to Xiaobao. "No need. We'll leave when it's time. Half an hour will be enough. It seems that we can't complete the journey today. Get up and move around." Zhang Xiaobao didn't want them to lie down and rest. After they finished resting, they couldn't move anymore. As soon as half an hour was up, everyone continued to move forward. The backpacks of the guards of the prince's mansion were put on the backs of the horses. The people of the protection team were still so relaxed. When the guards of the prince's mansion started to hurry, they were a little sore all over. After walking for a while, they felt a little better and gradually sped up. They also knew that it was because of their team that they slowed down and embarrassed the little prince. The group of people trotted when they had a little strength and walked when they were tired. When they ran, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would run for a while and then ride a horse. When they walked, they could get down and continue to follow. When it was dark, they rested for another half an hour and then continued their journey. The dampness and coolness of the night made them feel more energetic. When it was midnight, they took a collective rest under the command of Wang Wan. They found some branches from the roadside and weeds that were washed everywhere by the flood. After lighting a few bonfires, everyone began to eat. This is the real survival in the wild. It's like risking your life, Li Sun said with squinted eyes while eating the cooked porridge and pickled vegetables. He seemed to be able to fall asleep at any time. Compared with the survival in the wild that he had organized before, this kind of speed was the real speed of war. The people of the protection team chewed very fast when eating, but the real time they took was almost the same as the guards of the prince's mansion. After eating, they began to teach the guards of the prince's mansion how to pick up water bubbles. After walking for such a long time, it was impossible for the guards of the prince's mansion to be fine. Except for the people of the protection team. They had received more than a year of training to stand in line, swim, and hurry on the road. They did not have the skills to fight in battle, so they were very clear about some body adjustments. This was also the plan of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The skills to fight in battle could be trained later. There was no danger now, so the most important thing was to lay a good foundation. After picking up the water bubbles, they began to apply the medicine, which made the guards of the prince's mansion break out in a cold sweat. The medicine was good, but it was impossible for the flesh to not hurt when it touched other things. Seeing this situation, Wang Wan said unhappily, "It seems that it won't take 2.5 days. It will take 3 days. When we arrive, we also need to rest for 2 days." Li Sun knew that Wang Wan was talking about his guards affecting their speed. He could not say anything and could only eat silently. He also knew that the water bubbles would get worse if he did not pick them up, but it would be very painful if he picked them up, especially when they were hurrying on the road. "Xiaobao, I'm really sorry. My people have slowed you down." Li Sun apologized to Zhang Xiaobao. Although he said so, he was very happy in his heart. He understood that it was fortunate that he followed these two people out. Otherwise, he would not know that the guards were lacking in this aspect. The water bubbles were nothing. They could just pick them up. When they came back, the 50 people would not have to worry about rushing on the road. There would be enough calluses on their feet. They could also learn some things that they did not know before. The only regret was that they did not bring all 200 people with them. They could only train them after they came back. They could learn a little bit. Zhang Xiaobao was proficient in many kinds of psychology. How could he not know what Li Sun was thinking? If it were him, he would also have the same plan. After hearing Li Sun's words, he said angrily, "That's enough. Don't pretend to be obedient after getting benefits. At this time, there is no such thing as a burden. When it is time to fight for our lives, we will naturally give up. The mission is first. You won't understand even if I explain it to you now. But your gods are really too bad. They are damaging the reputation of the Tang Empire. We are not bad. We are just not prepared for such a long journey. When it comes to killing, we are not afraid of anyone." A guard of the prince's residence who was beside Li Sun heard and finally could not hold back and shouted. As soon as his voice fell, Wang Wan ran up and stepped on Zhang Xiaobao's body to fly up. Her feet were together in the air and kicked the guard's temple. Her toes were tight. If this kick landed, it would directly knock him out. The guard's reaction was not slow. He tilted his head to the side and then felt a pain in his throat. He could not breathe and lost feeling in his chin. When his body fell back, he saw Zhang Xiaobao's outstretched foot. At this time, Wang Wan used her hand to grab Zhang Xiaobao's shoulder in the air and landed. She looked at the guard with disdain. Just now, she and Xiao Bao did not use any weapons. Otherwise, this guard would have been a corpse. The people beside the guard immediately came over to massage the guard's back so that he could breathe. The guard coughed and looked in horror at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were standing there as if nothing had happened. The guards of the prince's residence always thought that the two children were very weak and took advantage of the little prince. Now, they realized that things were not so simple. Just now, the two people did not make any discussion at all. How could they act together and cooperate so well? Li Sun was also a little confused. He had seen Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's movements when they jumped on the horse. At that time, he felt that it was very amazing. But the attack just now was a little too fast. When Wang Wan jumped up with Zhang Xiaobao, he did not know how she borrowed the force. She was actually able to jump 10 feet into the air. Her movements were even more beautiful than when she jumped on the horse. Zhang Xiaobao did not even raise his head to look. After he lifted Wang Wan up, he immediately rushed over. The distance of 4 steps was closed in the blink of an eye. With one kick, just one kick, he kicked the guard down. The guard was just in time to receive Wang Wan, who was coming down from the sky. Although the guard was squatting there and had used up a lot of strength in a day, he did not have the strength to fight back against 2 children who looked 8 or 9 years old but were actually only 6 years old. You don't know the rules. You are talking to your master. Who do you think you are? Interrupting casually. This is a march. Everything is done according to the rules of the military camp. Just wait to be beaten. Remember this first. If there is a next time, kill. Wang Wan scolded with a sullen face. Although her sullen face looked cute, no one was not afraid. Even Li Sun felt that Wang Wan was different from before at this moment. She was like a general who commanded thousands of soldiers and horses. That kind of temperament that combined identity and ability made people absent-minded. Only Zhang Xiaobao was indifferent. He knew that Wang Wan's aura did not come from the child herself. It was caused by the 56 people who stood behind Wang Wan and reacted quickly. Li Sun glared at the guard and said, "Remember this matter. When you go back, you will be the commander of the staff. Those who know will think that you are the one who made the decision. Those who don't know will think that I deliberately arranged it. You are embarrassing me." "Little prince, I didn't bring any weapons." The guard was still unconvinced. Chapter 457. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan showed their skills, the guards of the prince's mansion also changed their previous thoughts. It was not only because the two of them worked together to defeat one person, but also because of the little prince's attitude. It was very obvious that he was on their side. If someone was blind and offended the two of them, it would easily lead to a fatal disaster. When it was time to sleep, the guards on both sides knew that they had to take turns to keep watch. No matter how tired they were, they had to get up. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun did not need to care about this kind of thing. They just casually laid on the ground. Li Sun clearly had a blanket, but it was useless. Not only did he not use it, but he also did not allow the guards to use it. As a result, the guards had to burn the blanket, otherwise they would be tired. The guards on both sides knew that there were many mosquitoes at night, so they applied medicine to their bodies. It was not yet time to keep watch, so they seized the time to sleep. Some people could sleep, but some people could not. Lu Shaoqing tossed and turned on the bed, feeling stuffy. He asked someone to find ice and put it in the room, but he still could not sleep. He knew that it was not because the weather was hot, and it was not because they could not make so much shrimp sauce. It was because the people who came in the evening could be considered good news. However, he had been deceived once, so he had to be vigilant enough to persuade the people who came to him to leave and come back tomorrow. He wanted to use one night to consider whether this was a trap or not. If it wasn't a trap, then it was a great thing. He didn't need to worry about the shrimp anymore. He could focus on making shrimp sauce. He could use a little trick to ferment the shrimp sauce in half a month. The taste and texture would be a little worse, but it was not important. There was no mention of texture and taste in the contract, so he could not find fault in this point. If you can make 300 jars of shrimp sauce, you are allowed to owe money first. It is just that the price is a little higher. If you can make 1 jar of shrimp sauce, you will need 3 strings of money. If you can make 1 jar of shrimp sauce, you will need 9 strings of money. If you have 100 jars, you will need 900 strings of money. Wasn't it a little uneconomical to buy only 100 jars? After completing the transaction, not only did he not earn any money, but he also lost 600 strings of coins. Now, the Zhang family's marinating shop was selling a jar of shrimp paste for 15 strings of coins. If he bought the remaining 200 jars, he would be able to earn 1,200 strings of coins. After deducting the 600 strings of coins, there are still 600 strings of coins left. The jar is no longer valuable, so it can be excluded. The salt is boiled, so it can also be excluded. It's 600 strings of coins, but in that case, it will be on credit for 2,700 strings of coins. This money has to be calculated as interest, 30%. If calculated monthly, it will be 810 strings of coins a month, and 40% for half a month, so it will be 540 strings of coins. Lu Shaoqing muttered to himself as he lay on the couch. In the evening, a person who claimed to be from Lianzhou came with a lot of prawns. He wanted to make shrimp sauce and sell it here, but he found that many people had already started making it. The other side only accepted 1,000 jars, so he wanted to sell the prawns and buy something shipped from Beijing. The asking price was not low, and the prawns were more than 10 times the price. But who asked the people here to be short of prawns, especially himself? After some discussion, there was some result. He could buy on credit first, but he had to pay interest. Lu Shaoqing had already been fooled once, and he was afraid that he would be fooled again. There were 2 ways to buy the prawns that could be used to make 300 jars of shrimp sauce. Lu Shaoqing was troubled by this. First, he did not want to buy it. If he did, the money he earned would be too little. If he bought it all, then he would be able to earn more than 50 strings of coins. After deducting the interest and the money to pay the other side, he would still have to pay back half a month. Otherwise, he would continue to lose money. No, I can't buy these prawns. I have to buy more. The other side needs 1,000 jars. Here, I only have 400 jars after adding the 300 jars and my own. I have to be fast. I have to sell them first and add 200 more jars. Lu Shaoqing sat up from the couch, turned over, and opened the window. He did not care if there were mosquitoes flying in from outside. He calculated in his heart. If he bought 200 more jars, that would be 1,800 strings of coins. Half a month would be 360 strings of coins. The shrimp sauce could be sold for 3,000 strings of coins. After paying back the money, he would still have 2,640 strings of coins left. Adding the rest from before, it would be nearly 2,700 strings of coins. Only when he reached this amount would it be worthwhile. Now, he was afraid that the person had already left. He had brought the prawns, and if they were bought by someone else, then he would have to consider how to make the shrimp sauce. Someone come. Lu Shaoqing wanted to bring them here, so he shouted to the outside. When the door opened, a person came in, causing Lu Shaoqing to be slightly stunned. He thought that it would be a servant girl, but in the end, it was the steward who ran in anxiously. Master, it's not good. The prawn seller went to Master Zhong's place and unloaded the prawns. It seems that Master Zhong agreed. What should we do? The 3 of them also know how to make the shrimp sauce this way. As soon as the steward came in, he reported to Lu Shaoqing. Naturally, the steward had to help the master consider the matter thoroughly. In the evening, as soon as that person left, the steward sent someone to follow him. As a result, they received this information. How much did he buy? How much do you think Zhang Huanshe bought? Lu Shaoqing was regretful. Why didn't he buy the prawns in the evening? No matter how many prawns that person brought, at least after he bought them, he could prepare for it the next day. He could even keep the person at home. Now, it was bought by someone else. The steward knew that the master was anxious, so he said calmly, "Master, don't worry. Master Zhang probably didn't buy much. I have already sent someone to watch over there. When the time comes, it will be clear. We will even know the price." Good job. You will be rewarded. When this matter is over, I will definitely reward you well. That person in your family still hasn't given you a son or a daughter. What do you think of the servant girl in the courtyard? Little you, pick a good time and accept her. We can't let the family line die. Lu Shaoqing was nervous. He felt that this steward was a good person. Since he didn't have money, then he should give it away. Wouldn't the servant girl in his family give it to whoever she wanted? In fact, the steward had long wanted to find someone outside. Not only could the person in his family not have children, but she also had a bad temper. Usually, he didn't dare to let others know to avoid being laughed at. This time, the master had spoken. He wanted to see if the person in his family still dared to throw a tantrum. A man should control a woman. If she didn't listen to him, he would beat her until he got the information. The steward thought and said to Lu Shaoqing, "Master, then I will go and take a look. I will come back if there is something." Go. Settle the matter. Little you, is waiting for you." Lu Shaoqing waved his hand. The steward left excitedly, but he didn't immediately go to inquire about the news. Instead, he went back home to take a look. In the past, he always listened to the person in his family. If he didn't listen, she would make a fuss. Today was different. See how she would make a fuss? Not to mention that she was fat, she was always ordering people around. "You're back? You haven't eaten yet, right? I asked you to send someone to watch. Why are you running around? Come in quickly. I cooked noodles for you. How many times have I told you? As a steward, you shouldn't always run around. It will be troublesome if the master can't find you when something happens." The steward had just walked to the door when he heard the woman inside speak. She opened the door and pulled him in. She pressed him to the side of the small wooden table and turned around to bring back a bowl of fish sauce on top of the bowl. The fat woman put the bowl in front of the steward and handed him a pair of chopsticks. She said, "I asked someone today and found a doctor sent by the Zhang family. He gave me a prescription. I spent 2 copper coins to get the medicine. It's cheap. He said that this medicine was only prescribed by the doctor. If you don't pay 50 copper coins, no one will care about you. Other than mine, there's also yours. He said that you drank too much in the past and drank too much. In the future, even if your life is better, you won't drink so much. When the time comes, the 2 of us will raise a few children. There will be a boy to carry on the family line for your family. There will also be a girl to be considerate. Hurry up and eat, or you'll be sick in a while. This fish sauce is from the river that I dug up in the magistrate's office after I finished embroidering during the day. Their net may be big, so a lot of small fish will come out. Try it. In the future, when I have time, I'll go and catch some. It's good for the body. Don't you care too much? You're a woman. Why do you run around all day? What's wrong with me drinking? You don't have the ability to give birth to children, yet you tell others about me drinking. Will the doctor from the Zhang family believe you? You don't know anything. You eat the medicine yourself. The master said that he wants to give little you to me as a concubine." The steward slammed his chopsticks on the table and glared at her. The woman was stunned. She thought about it and said, "That's good. What if I really can't do it? I'll treat little you well in the future. We'll talk about it later. I'm going out." The steward became impatient listening to the woman's nagging. He didn't eat the noodles and got up to leave. The woman quickly took a set of clothes from the side and said, "Change your clothes. It's hot at night. Come back and change your clothes. It's easy to get sick. Come back quickly." The steward ignored her and disappeared into the night. Chapter 458. When the person spoke, he didn't get off the horse. The Zhang family didn't care about these superficial things. At least, when there were no outsiders, they were very casual. What was the point of getting off the horse? Respect was in the heart, not on the surface. Zhang Zhong was busy. When he heard that the madam was here, he frowned and said with dissatisfaction, "Why is she here in the middle of the night? It's a mess here. Why didn't she stay at home and come here? It's troublesome." "Master, should I go back and tell the madam not to come?" the person on the horse asked. "Don't, I'll go and see for myself. I haven't been home for a few days. How can the madam go back? Come down, how can you talk to the master on a horse?" Zhang Zhong hurriedly stopped him and vented his anger on the person. The person didn't dare to say anything and got off the horse. Before he could find a place to tie the horse, Zhang Zhong pulled the reins and got on the horse. He didn't care about the person who came to report and pulled the reins. The horse turned around and ran in the direction that the person came from. The person who left the message stood there in a daze and looked at the master who was going away. After a while, he shouted to the people who were watching the scene, "What are you looking at? My master is the top scholar. Not only is he good at writing, but he is also skilled in archery and horse riding. Hurry up and get to work. If there's anything you need help with, call me." Zhang Zhong urged the horse all the way. After half a quarter of an hour, he saw the madam's team. In fact, there were only 2 carriages. There were about 10 guards next to them. There was also a servant girl sitting on the shaft of the carriage, humming a song. Zhang Zhong urged the horse closer and said to the person in the carriage, "Madam, why are you here?" After saying that, he got off the horse and directly went into the carriage. There was only Jiang Wang clan and a servant girl inside. The servant girl hurriedly ran out and didn't even greet Zhang Zhong. "I missed my husband, so I came to see you. I heard from the local elders that there will be heavy rain in a few days. How are the arrangements here? It looks like you just woke up. Come, wipe your eyes. It must have been hard on you. You've also lost weight. This concubine made white fungus bird's nest soup for you. Eat it while it's still hot." Jiang Wang clan's heart ached as she looked at her man. His beard had grown long, and his eyes had become dull. She took a wet towel from the side and wiped his face. Then, she took out a bowl of warm soup from the food box beside her and fed him. Zhang Zhong happily ate 2 mouthfuls before saying, "Madam, it's foggy here at night, and it's too humid, but you still insisted on coming over. If Xiaobao knew, he would complain. Go over there and take a look, and then come back in a while. There's nothing to do, and I don't do manual labor." "Madam, why do you look so pale?" It would have been better if Zhang Zhong didn't say anything. As soon as he said that, Jiang Wang clan began to retch. She vomited twice, but nothing came out. She took out a few dried plums from the side drawer and put them in her mouth. She smiled like a flower and said, "My husband, I'm here to tell you good news. I'm pregnant again, but I don't know if it's a boy or a girl." Jiang Wang clan's face was full of happiness as she spoke. "Ah, you have a child? Then why did you come out for no reason, you?" When Zhang Zhong heard that there was a child, his eyes widened. Before he could finish his words, he immediately became listless. He lowered his voice and continued speaking. "Madam, I'm afraid of you. You're pregnant, so don't go around blindly. Madam, are you afraid that I'll take the opportunity to find another woman when you're pregnant? Madam, don't worry. Zhang Zhong, in this life, other than you, I don't like anyone else. I know how much you've worked for me, and I remember it. When Madam, Qiao, ran away from home with a silly boy, that silly boy had already sworn that if he dared to do anything to hurt Qiao, he would be struck by lightning. From tomorrow onwards, I'll stay at home with Qiao, and won't go anywhere. Let my son be busy. There are so many capable girls in the house, I don't care." Zhang Zhong thought that was the case, so he began to give his promise and decided to stay at home from tomorrow onwards. The Jiang Wang clan was most satisfied with this trait of Zhang Zhong. Even if he went out, he would not go to brothels with others. He could drink, but it was useless if others invited him. It was not that she was strict, but Xiao Bao had too many spies. Not to mention that Zhang Zhong did not have such thoughts. Even if he did, he could not do anything. The Jiang Wang clan fed him half a bowl and felt disgusted. She stuffed the bowl into Zhang Zhong's hands and said, "Eat it yourself. How old are you? Why are you waiting for others to feed you?" Zhang Zhong quickly took it and wanted to complain. "You were the one who insisted on feeding me. I didn't dare to not eat." But he held it in. After all, Madam was also feeling uncomfortable. When Madam stopped vomiting, he said, "Ciao, go back later. Even if you don't think for yourself, you should think for the baby in your belly. The baby and Cuckoo are playing in the mountains. Do you think it's a boy or a girl?" The Jiang Wang clan leaned on Zhang Zhong and asked. "A girl. Give birth to a little sister for Xiao Bao, and give birth to a few little brothers in the future." Zhang Zhong thought for a while and said, "Pigs. What if it's a boy? Won't he fight with Xiao Bao for property in the future?" The Jiang Wang clan was worried again. She was not worried about Zhang Xiaobao, but she was worried about Xiao Bao's little brother. If Xiao Bao used 20% of his ability, no one else could compete with him. Zhang Zhong was the least worried about this. He chuckled and said, "Xiao, don't think about it. Why would Xiao Bao care about this little family property? If he really gives birth to a little brother, he will see if the little brother can support the family. If the little brother can, Xiao Bao will let go. With his and Cuckoo's ability, why would they care about these things?" What Fu Jun said is right. Incompetent people will fight for the family property, while capable people can earn more money by themselves. All the things in the family now are earned by Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. In the past, the family was just surviving, and there was not much living expenses. Xiao Bao earned so much for the family property in just a few years. How could he snatch his little brother's things? But I still think that my daughter is good. Xiao Bao is so busy these days that I can't see him all day. When he's finally done with his work, he went to the mountain with Cuckoo. "Hubby, there's another good news. My little sister is pregnant at the same time. Will it be like before, where a boy will be a brother, a girl will be a sister, and a boy and a girl will be husband and wife?" The Jiang Wang clan was relieved when she heard Zhang Zhong's words. She also told Zhang Zhong the other good news. Zhang Zhong shuddered. He looked at his wife and asked, "Will there be children like Xiao Bao and Cuckoo again?" Zhang Zhong was indeed afraid. His son and daughter-in-law had already made him busy all day. Although his son and daughter-in-law were more tired, the two children could not be treated as ordinary people. From the beginning of the imperial examinations to the various places, all the decisions were made by his son and daughter-in-law. If they said that he would be the top student in the imperial examinations, then he would be the top student in the imperial examinations. If they said that he would be the top scholar in the imperial examinations, then he would be the top scholar in the imperial examinations. He could be appointed as an official wherever he went. Even the emperor could not know in advance. The two children had already made all the arrangements. They even had a detailed plan of what to do when they arrived at the place. When it came to Lu Zhou, the flood disrupted the plan and cost them a lot of money. But so what? When the flood happened, the plan was changed. This was called fast. When other people encountered the same disaster, they would be at a loss. However, his son and daughter-in-law were as calm as a mountain. Not only did they earn back the money they had lost, but they also earned a lot more than what they had originally planned. Zhang Zhong was worried that if there were two more children like them, what should he do then? The four of them each came up with an idea. Who should he listen to? The Jiang Wang clan was unwilling. "Husband, do you think that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are not good?" No, they are good." "How can my children not be good? I'm just afraid of causing trouble." "Then, I want a daughter. I'll let Xiao Bao take care of her. Let's see who dares to bully her." The Jiang Wang clan had already made up her mind. She did not care if they would really have a daughter. Yes, we have to take good care of her first. Didn't Xiao Bao and Cuckoo specially train some people like her? If others don't dare to use them, we'll use them ourselves. From tomorrow onwards, you have to do as those people say. Zhang Zhong thought of something important. His son and daughter-in-law had deliberately trained some people. From the time they were pregnant until the child was born, they had special people and methods. This included listening to music. When they were introduced to others, others did not believe them. Now that it was his turn, even if he did not trust others, he would trust his son and daughter-in-law. He had to use them. Then, I'd like to take a look at where my husband is working. After that, I'll go back, the Jiang Wang clan said as she chewed on another piece of sour plum. All right, we'll take a look. Chow, you're so disgusting. Why don't you let the doctor take a look at you? Now that Zhang Zhong had his own power, he had more ideas. When he had Zhang Xiaobao, he did not receive such treatment. The Jiang Wang clan shook her head. There's no need. As the saying goes, every medicine has a side effect. I don't want my daughter to be poisoned. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know that their mother was pregnant again. When they woke up in the morning, they were still leading the group and hurrying on with their journey. At this time, the guards of the Wang mansion finally knew the consequences of rushing on with their journey yesterday. The blisters on their feet were popped. Now, when they walked, they felt a burning pain. However, they had to persevere. In addition to the burning pain on their feet, there was also the soreness on their bodies. Not only were their legs uncomfortable, but their arms and chests were also uncomfortable. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao naturally knew about this, but they didn't say anything. It wasn't like they hadn't experienced it before. They just had to endure it and it would be over. The two of them didn't believe that the guards of the Wang mansion couldn't even endure this bit of hardship. Sure enough, the guards of the Wang mansion were not bad. Although it was painful, after they ran, they slowly got used to the pain. When they became numb, no one quit, and no one shouted in pain. This made Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan quite satisfied. No matter what the reason was, as long as they persevered, it was worthy of recognition. Li Sun was also happy to see the performance of his subordinates. When he ran, he also jumped back and forth, and said to the guards of the Wang mansion if there was any reward when they returned. Xiaobao, it looks like it's going to rain, Wang Wan said when she and Zhang Xiaobao could not run anymore and rode on the horse. It's fine if it rains. It won't affect the people of the Seedling Protection Team. In other words, the people of the Seedling Protection Team will only make use of the weather and will not be affected by the weather. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.